Welcome in, everybody, to the Silph All-Star Invitational Finals. Today we have the Squirtle Squad versus the Seven Wonders. Some fantastic battlers that made it 2 rounds all the way into the finals here. And I'm joined by my co-casters, Adelion and Jolt Switch.
Hey, everybody.
How are we all doing tonight?
We're looking forward to a super hyped finals here. Like I said, when we get to the teams in just a little bit, you're going to see all these fantastic battlers. But first, if you guys are just joining us for the first time today, let's do a little recap of the formats. This is actually a 7-person per team, and there's actually 4 different formats. And in Silph fashion, the first format is basically a Silph meta. So, Jolt Switch, do you want to explain that first format?
Definitely an interesting pick here. Starting with the field specialists, we have 4 of them on each team. They're battling in what's called the floating city. What that speaks to is you need to have ground, flying, steel, and normal types. The only bans that we're seeing are on mythicals, megas, shadows, regionals, Galarian Stunfisk, which would have been great against those flying types, Skarmory, Altaria, so we're going to see some different flyers than we usually do, Bastiodon, and Registeel. Aside from that, we do have, of course, our Master League specialists that'll be able to play in that unlimited CP cap. Now, they do need to follow a few different meta pieces. They're only allowed 1 legendary or mythical allowed on that roster. The Pokemon do need to be level 40 or lower, unless it's level 41 with that best buddy boost. Ultra League is open Ultra League, so there's no specific picks, but you're just not allowed to have more than 1 legendary mythical once again, and 1 starter. So we get to see some of those fun picks that we have seen before, such as, Charizard is one that we've seen a few times. We've seen Swampert here and there, so we'll have to see what they've come out with today. And last but not least is that Great League. It is an open Great League, no restrictions, all the fun. Pick 6, choose 3 to battle.
Yes, all the things we want in GBL is right here. We have the show 6, pick 3. I know maybe some people won't want the legendary allowed, but just 4 fantastic formats. It's like GBL but improved, and then this awesome Floating City Silph format, which I've thoroughly enjoyed because of how neutral the matchups are. And I've said this many times, the more neutral matchups are, it really highlights the best players, the best strategies, because it's a lot of fluid gameplay. You have a lot of decisions you can make, and you have a lot of opportunities to make moves. And Adelion, how are you liking this Floating City meta so far?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. So yeah, it's a great point you made about the neutral matchups. There's been in the last stream that we did when we were looking at the semifinals, and indeed further before that, there were many occasions where you would see certain like counter users be put up against flyers, and it would actually be situations where you would swap in a counter user into a flyer, for example, which seems counterintuitive at first, but it was necessary because this meta really does insist on that kind of neutral matchup, the chip damage. You'd see maybe a Vigoroth versus Articuno, for example, which is neutral, and it was just a matter of who can time their switch and use the best of their abilities to achieve victory. So this meta really does stand out for them. So I think it's a fantastic meta for the specialists to really show off their stuff.
I completely agree, and I think out of all the battles that we were casting, only one battle sticks out, or only one series sticks out that became really rock paper scissors, and I think that was that Empoleon by Maron P, I believe. That was like, out of all the battles, that was the only one where you're like, oh shoot, this is actually pretty rock paper scissors. But he added that Empoleon, I believe, just to counter this Articuno that made waves in the semifinal rounds. And so really smart pick by him. And he clinched the victory for the Squirtle Squad to bring them into the finals here. So I think without further ado, we could just start looking at the teams and get into these battles. This is the Silph All-Star Invitational Finals. Welcome in, everybody that's here already.
All right.
Yeah, and I'll just go over the players in the matchups. So we have Racha Babyface versus Mephiz in the Master League format. Like Volt Switch said, or sorry, I keep saying Volt Switch on accident. It's Jolt Switch, just because it's such a pop. I love that move, Volt Switch. Jolt Switch said because you can have one legendary, Rocha picking the Giratina, Mephiz picking the Metagross, and then we got Yusafro, which we learned how to say last time, versus the team captain House Stark for the Seven Wonders. And Yusafro decided to pick the Melmetal. House Stark is going for that Articuno, which is an interesting pick. Really like that pick. And then we have For the Battles versus Ricky, another two fantastic battlers. We saw For the Battles actually come out of like some tough matchups last round, where she had her Alolan Marowak in a Umbreon matchup, I believe 2 to 3 times, and she was able to pull it out 2-1. They are rocking the open Great League format, and then we have Speediest Chief, the reigning world champion for Silph, versus Ali Lucky, a great battler herself. Then Maron P, the battler I was mentioning earlier that clinched the finals here for Squirtle Squad, I believe was a Continentals champion as well, for his region. And then Dr. Trotter, the Aussie, you guys know him. He streams, a great battler himself. Then we got Steve versus Vonnie, Burnabas versus Parzival, and they are all playing in the Floating City format. Just fantastic battlers. Awesome format. Like I said, these are going to be some hype battles.
Yeah,
it is really interesting to see what these guys have done to make adjustments to their teams from the last matchup. But the Seven Wonders, each of their teams has made a shift. If you take a closer look at, for instance, the teams that we were seeing yesterday, guys like Rocha Babyface and Burnabus and Speediest Chief and For the Battles, they haven't changed their teams. So they'll be used to what they've been using. They'll be used to moving with each of those Pokemon. Not saying that the other guys aren't, because of course, being here, they probably practiced left, right, and center. But having that same flow from each of the other rounds, and last round specifically, they'll be used to using what they got. It'll be really interesting to see if that plays a factor in any of their matchups there.
Absolutely. The adjustments are key. You know, as a Silph meta unfolds, oftentimes you see the meta shift a bit. You see people bringing in new teams. And yeah, you're saying the Seven Wonders seem to have brought a little bit more wrinkles than the Squirtle Squad. The Squirtle Squad, I believe, is bringing all 4 of the Floating City teams are bringing that Articuno, which we saw cause so much problems. And it looks like 0 of the Seven Wonders are bringing that Articuno. And we saw that Empoleon could be a quite good Articuno counter. No Empoleon for any of these teams, but Parzival is rocking that Alolan Sandslash.
That's going to be interesting. Go on, Joel.
Definitely an amazing pick there for Parzival. Sorry to cut you off, Adelia.
No, that's fine. I was actually agreeing with exactly what you're saying. So the Alolan Sandslash is going to be very versatile. I believe it will be able to, of course, beat the Articuno. It can cause huge problems for the Stunfisk, even with just one Powder Snow Energy lead. It can rain the ice punches down on Stunfisk there. It doesn't really mind Mantine too much either, and it will be able to resist Wigglytuff and its Charm. So obviously it's quite good against 4 out of the 6, for example, on Burnabus's team, just as to be very mindful of the Vigoroth and Charizard that will eat it alive. So Parzival is going to have a lot of graft, have to put in a lot of graft to line up Alolan Sandslash correctly, but I'm very excited for that battle in particular, because I love a bit of spice, and in the Floating City meta, a bit of spice can be a huge difference between winning and losing. So yeah.
And just 2 quick wrinkles that I'll point out before we move on to our battles. It looks like the Seven Wonders, 3 out of 4 of their Floating City squads actually have the double Mud Boy. I know some people don't consider the Stunfisk a Mud Boy. You can let us know in the chat if you think Stunfisk is a Mud Boy. I'm calling it a Mud Boy. 3 out of 4 of those teams rock in the Swampert and the Stunfisk, which is quite interesting to me. And then one other wrinkle, I believe Ricky's bringing the Bastiodon for the first time. I didn't see that Bastiodon last time. I don't know if that's a team composition call for maybe what he thought he might be facing in the finals, or maybe he had the Bastiodon the whole time, but there's a wall face on Ricky's team, so that shall be interesting to look for as well. But unless you guys have any more notes on these teams, we might as well move on to the gameplay.
All right.
So first up, we got Yusei Fro versus House Stark. 2 fantastic battlers. House Stark is the team captain for the 7 Wonders.
Some interesting notes for each of these teams here. Clefable is the only carryover for Yusufru, and Umbreon is the same for House Stark. But if you do look at the teams in each of the pieces here, what we're actually seeing is that Umbreon gets countered by everything. So I've got to make sure to keep an eye on that. It's stopped by everything else on the opposition. So we may not see it in action, but we know it's tanky if it happens to come out.
Yeah, double charm. Double charm by Yusei Fro. We don't know for sure if Granbull is charmed. You can rock the Snarl Granbull. It is viable for sure. But wow, double charm. Remember 2 days ago in the semifinals, House Stark would safe swap that Umbreon. He safe swapped it into Caleb Pang's Escavalier, and Umbreon won the 2 shield versus Escavalier to get swap advantage. The XL Best Buddy Umbreon is just a tank. It's so hard to stop, and Yusei Fro decides to bring 2 Charmers to stop it.
Now, that's another interesting piece, is Granbull, if it has Snarl, still beats that Umbreon. So we've got to keep that in mind as well, because it does also have close combat to be able to take it down. That is, of course, in a 1-shield scenario, so we'll have to see what happens moving forward.
So I wonder when, if I'd be curious to see how many last resorts the Granbull can withstand in, say, a 2-shield scenario if that situation does happen early on. But yeah, the double charmer is looking particularly intimidating against House Stark's team because Escavalier, while it resists the charms, it also deals resisted damage to both those fairies as well. And it also will get walled depending on its moveset by the Gyarados. In House Stark's shoes, he's a much better player than me, so I imagine he wouldn't be too intimidated by this lineup. But I'm looking at Yusifuro's double charm and I'm thinking, ooh, that's going to be tough to beat with this team with a fighter and a dark type in there. That's going to take super effective damage from those charmers. But we will see. The magic, if anyone can make the magic happen, House Stark is the player to do it. So, all to play for.
Absolutely. House Stark, a very talented player, one of the best, and really seasoned in Silph battles. So he's been in this situation so many times. He obviously knows probably Yusei Fro is going to counter that Umbreon because, it's not easy to get an XL Umbreon right now. XL candies aren't the easiest thing to get. I know I'm like only 50 XL candies in. So House Stark had the big grind, got to that XL Best Buddy Umbreon, and it's such a weapon. And at this point, I would have to say Yusei Fro's team looks like to be slightly advantaged there. Also, Melmetal completely walling House Stark's Articuno. And then that Gyarados also could come into play because there's 2 counter users for House Stark, the Surfetched and the Escavalier. Now, the Surfetched does have that neutral Leaf Blade, and then the Swampert, which Gyarados completely walls. So that the Gyarados is not looking too shabby in itself, but let's just set the table one last time. This is the Silph All-Star Invitational Finals. This is the Squirtle Squad versus the 7 Wonders, Yusei Fro versus House Stark, and they are battling in the Ultra League Specialist format. And without further ado, let's get into these battles. All right. Whoa. Looks like
to lead alongside that Gyarados is definitely an interesting.
Looks
matchup.
like we're seeing the our Master League players.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we got a little Master League to start out, a little preview of the Master Leagues, but here it is. And like I said, the Gyarados might come into play, but great call by House Stark expecting that. This is a fantastic lead for Clefable, and instantly Yusei has to Safe Swap into his own Clefable, but now House Stark is just one Dance Charm move ahead.
Okay, that's going to be decisive because he can catch the he can get the first shield with Meteor Mash, and then does he swap out immediately or not? That's the question. But his backline will struggle a little bit against the opposing Clefable. He does switch out immediately and catches the Meteor Mash on the oh no, sorry, not Meteor Mash. This is the Dazzling Gleam on the Escavalier, but it's going to be resisted damage, so not Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast there. My apologies. But that's looking good so far. Will he be able to get the farm down? Most likely. Those charms do chip away very, very quickly, even against a resisted steel type. So he is going for the full farm down, though, and he's just about managing it, I reckon. So let's see what comes in. What comes in now?
That is Cavalier definitely with a ton of energy coming in. We'll have to wait and see what comes forward. It may be that Granbull will be able to figure out if it's got Charm or Snarl here on it. It goes for the Gyarados, though. Able to, of course, launch that drill run to maybe scare a shield into play. It doesn't look like Yusufro is going to fall for that.
Jeez, that did so little, and he threw the drill run first. Now going for the Mega Horn, House Stark was able to get this full farm down, and this it was able to take out half of this Gyarados here. But we do have a Granbull in the back and a half health Gyarados, and this Gyarados is Waterfall, so it actually might be able to take out this Clefable, no problem. Doesn't want to take any more charm damage and just throws the Aqua Tail, matches the shields up. Now, if his Granbull in the back has a good matchup, this could be a win for Yusei here, but it's the Swampert in the back. The Swampert definitely has play against the Granbull, but it's not Rock and Sludge Wave. But I think at this point, if you could double Earthquake or triple Hydro Cannon, it might be enough.
See, he's going for the crunch first to try and pull a shield. House Stark doesn't fall for it, so the crunch hits. Reasonable amount of chip damage, and he's going for the double.
It's Snarl. Sorry, it's Snarl.
And it is Snarl. Yeah, you're right.
Definitely going to be able to do quite a bit of work with Snarl being able to charge those moves so much faster there for him. But without shielding, that poor Granbull is just up for Hydro Cannon hell here. Launching another crunch, getting a shield this time out of him is always a positive to be able to try and shift. Hydro Cannon still sitting there for...
Oh, and he's going to get mud-shotted down!
Oh, man.
He gets one-shotted down. He has 2 Hydro Cannons left. This Gyarados has 1 shield, but the Swampert just has 2 Hydro Cannons left. He could just back-to-back here, and 1 Hydro Cannon at this range, even while resisted, is just going to be enough to take out the Gyarados here. Swampert in the back for House Stark. And now proved to be too strong.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And now the Granbull Snarl has been discovered, so House Stark will be able to adjust based on that knowledge, which is good to know as well. He also now is aware of Yusufuro's Gyarados running Waterfall, so that will be another thing to bear in mind as well and line up accordingly. It does. I wonder if that means that the Clefable from House Stark is not going to see as much play, with its main role being there to wall off the Gyarados. But we have to respect the Meteor Mash with even a one charm energy advantage will be able to hit the other fairies for super effective damage. So let's see. So far so good for House Stark. You were saying, sorry.
The thing is, they both seem to run like an ABB team, right? So Yusei runs the Gyarados in double fairies, does have that Snarl Granbull in the back, so not double charm. And then House Stark kind of used that fairy lead and then double anti-steel, so double anti-Melmetal, which is the Swampert and the Escavalier. So they both ran the ABB teams, but House Stark did win that lead where Clefable ran into that Gyarados. Even though that Gyarados is Waterfall, it's not a terrible matchup with Waterfall. And that Escavalier was able to get a ton of farm, and it was all walled by Gyarados. So you're going to have to think that Yusei is going to bring that Gyarados again. So I wouldn't be shocked if House Stark does put Clefable somewhere in his lineup. But we'll have to see how this one plays out. House Stark is up 1-0.
Definitely an interesting matchup with Gyarados not having that Dragon-type move. It means he's not resisted by a few things there, which is beautiful. Gyarados coming in here against that Umbreon. As I mentioned before, that Umbreon is going to have a tough time with everything on this lineup, but It might be thick enough to be able to work through it with double shields. Getting to that charge attack is the Gyarados itself. Umbreon probably not fearing, not going to use a shield down right away. Aquatail landing, as you can see, doing barely anything here. Hitting that last resort as Clefable comes out. Clefable not going to shield this here. We'll have to see if it happens to hack away a little bit. I do believe we've got a best buddy on each of these guys, so they are going to have those bonus hit points here. Now, Escavalier getting to a drill run, waiting just a little bit longer to fake out with the Mega Horn. Goes for the drill run. Clefable sitting on shields once again. 2 there, not using 1. Lands.
Yeah, and House Stark learning from match number 1 that the Escavalier energy is not that impactful anyway. So he is just going to go ahead and throw that drill run, not go for the full farm down. Might even get taken out by this Moonblast. It will do about half his health. No, a little bit less, about 40%. So he does get that farm down. You think it's going to blind Megahorn here?
Yeah, that would make sense here because it makes sense for the Gyarados to come back, but he doesn't know what the final mon is in Yusufuro's line. So Megahorn comes in. Yep, it is the Gyarados, unsurprisingly. No shield, or is he going to shield? No, he's not going to shield. Oh no, last minute decision to shield, and fair play because Megahorn, even despite being resisted, does chunk away at Gyarados. So the Umbreon comes in, which is sensible because there might be the concern that a double fairy is being run in the back, even if Granbull isn't running Charm. But this is okay. A shield comes from the Aquatail, and now the 2 foul plays are going to be raining in on Gyarados, which will do a nice bit of damage. Or potentially take the final shield as well. Oh no, he's farming up a bit more first, and then he's going to drop the second power play. Perfectly timed switch, though.
Beautiful change. Beautiful switch.
That's
Of course, another foul play. Escavalier able to weather it a little bit there. 1 shield left on that side, so he's got to make sure he's using it well. Clefable coming in on the other side, landing those charms, doing, of course, not as much damage as you expect, especially with the steel typing, but we are going to see each of them getting to their charge moves. Escavalier getting to that drill run before Clefable can hit that. It looked like they were going for Meteor Mash, but we'll have to see what lands. Shield, of course, saving that Clefable from taking any damage there. There's the Meteor Mash. And it looks like
and you see, yes, he had the shield there because he has to get the 3 moves. He has to drill run and get to an Aquatail on the Gyarados. It's going to be quite close to if Yusei is going to get to this. He's going to want to swap out and not be farmed down, but the timer might not be quite up yet. It's not quite up yet, so he is going to get charmed down, but at this point, Gyarados is going to outpace anyway. All he has to do is just get the 1 Aquatail, and he's just 2 waterfalls away, so he's just going to get to this waterfall. But he extra farms because he knows there's some health in the back on that Umbreon, and he needs to get to an Aquatail and then another Aquatail before that Umbreon gets to a foul play. But I think that Umbreon has a little energy. Oh no, it's energy dry. Is he gonna get there? He needs 1 more waterfall. He gets there last second, but Umbreon can live this. Umbreon could live this. Umbreon's so tanky it could live. Oh my god.
With minimal health left that day for the Gyarados. That is definitely a way to fall in that first match. We'll have to see what adjustments they make coming forward. Wow. Really surprised to see that work from the Umbreon itself. Like I said, with 1 shield, it's just not able to take the whole lineup, but for some reason it was able to do so much work. It's great to see some play, some adjustments, some of course, practice, endless practice probably showed him that there was just no way that there was a way to, not survive in some of those situations.
Just goes.
Yeah, and we do have the 3rd match. House Stark does take this 2-0. He did, first game, did not bring that Umbreon. Second game, saw Yusei was going for that ABB type strategy, and then leads the Umbreon, trying to catch a good lead for it. He was able to get good use out of it there. Oh my god, it's so thick. It just survives an Aquatail and is able to outpace it, and it's just crazy. And we do have game number 3. We can get to it into it straight away.
Oh, now this is interesting.
Bit of a change up there. That's really cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Straight away, Articuno backs away from the Melmetal, going into Clefable, which is interesting. I imagine because he wants to keep this Melmetal lined up against the Clefable and discourage it away from being lined up with Articuno further down the line. Rock Slide now launches in from the Melmetal to do a bit of chip damage, which is sensible. Melmetal is very comfortable to stay here and just chip away further with all of Clefable's moves being resisted. But Melmetal's defense is okay, but it's not an absolute tank. It's just so-so. So yeah, the Meteor Mashers will chip away over time. Another Rock Slide, however, which will bring Clefable into the red of a shield, is not consumed here. And I'll start letting it go. And then let's see. And a swap out now. Okay. So it wants to farm down.
Not resisted waterfall damage as well on that Clefable. Again, if it had that dragon typing move, it would have done it quite a bit slower. Articuno back in, of course, to stand up for House Stark. We'll see if we can use it wisely. Of course, going for that Icy Wind, doesn't get it before Aquatail is launched by Yusufro. We'll have to see if he decides to shield or just tanks it.
Just a CMP tie, I reckon? Yeah, it was, yeah. Both got that exactly the same time.
And here comes that Icy Wind, and maybe Yusufro's kicking himself for not bringing that Melmetal in round 2, maybe to run into the Clefable Umbreon. But he does bring it round 3, and it obviously hits that Articuno. So it's looking pretty good for Yusufro here, but there is play in the back. As you see in the back, House Stark is rocking the Escavalier, I believe, and Yusufro does have that Clefable. Obviously, the counters are resisted, but so are the charms, and that Escavalier just outpaces as Articuno takes down this Gyarados and has a little bit of health left, and it looks like House Stark is just spamming on swapping into that Escavalier and just gonna rock it till the very end. And there's 2 shields here for Clefable. 2 shield charm is quite strong in the back.
Able to get it out before a superpower comes from that Melmetal. Of course, we're going to see a shield just to make sure he can keep as much health as he can here. Of course, we are going to see a swap out immediately, so we don't have to worry about those debuffs. Clefable coming, like you said, it's just going to be outpaced by this Escavalier. Being able to get to that drill run really quickly. Of course, no shields for that Clefable because it's got probably similar amounts of hit points to that Umbreon that we saw from him earlier.
Oh, and I got mixed up. It's actually the Iscav that had the 2 shields. So 2 shield Iscav in the back is quite good. Clefable is going to get to 1 more move, but at this point you need to get the shield and somehow get to a superpower on his Melmetal here, right? And he doesn't have that much health. I didn't see how much energy he had coming out of it, but he somehow needs to get to that superpower, and House Stark knows this, so he's going to have to manage his energy to take out that Melmetal as well.
I believe before that Melmetal changed, it had 2 superpowers loaded, so it may have 1 left. So it might not need to get to that Thundershock to be able to build off of it. You can see that drill running getting hammered away here, trying to end this Clefable so that we don't have to worry about any more of that resisted charm damage. But
Iscav, I think, wins CMP against everything, and it wins CMP against Melmetal as well. brutal takedown there. Yeah, you kind of think of Iscav as like a tanky mon, but it actually has quite a high attack stat. So he wins a lot of CMPs, winning the CMP against that Melmetal, taking it out, and House Stark actually takes that 3-0. Strong start by the 7 Wonders.
Oh yeah, so the double charmer really did it wasn't able to line up because the Grand Ball was running Snarl instead, perhaps, and so once that was made aware within game 1, there was enough adjustments made. You could see how Stark was a little bit more confident in game 2 to bring that Umbreon because he knows he's dealing with 1 charmer and not 2, and if all we can say is, particularly on that second battle, is if people aren't trying to grind out an XL Umbreon for Ultra League, now is the time, folks. Get those EV candy. The Umbreon is going to be the new king of Ultra League once everyone gets their maxed out one. It's going to be mad. So, and this is just another example of just how tanky that beast is.
Yeah, so spammy too. It really thrives in that fluid gameplay where you can actually bank some moves, swap out. Ultra League Mongs are so tanky that you can actually save swap it, get back to your timer, maybe save some moves for chip damage later. So it's I know it's just kind of a bulky wall, but at least it does its damage with charge moves, and It's and here we go into matchup number 2. We got Racha Babyface versus Mephiz, and I believe this is the Master League specialist here.
Yes, you are right. It is Master League Specialist, and the teams are going to come up in a wee bit. But what we were talking about, the legendaries that both these players had picked out. Rasha Babyface going for the Giratina Origin form, and Mephiz going for the Mewtwo, which is perhaps a little is unusual because normally you'd expect in Master League, people typically lean towards Dialga being sort of the sort of king of Master League at present. But neither side has decided to bring it, perhaps assuming that there's going to be counters to it left, right, center. And Mewtwo is very, very interesting because it's got so much versatility. It's the fear factor of what is it running, potentially in addition to Psy Strike, or maybe it's going for a more versatile elemental approach even, and in order to get coverage and versatility there. You can draw a parallel with Mewtwo in Master League and Hypno in Great League, and how versatile it is with all its elemental punches. So I don't know what you guys think about Mewtwo, but I think it's a really it's a pick that causes like I think entropy is probably the word in chemistry, where it just causes disorder and unpredictability. I like that.
Definitely interesting trying to figure out what moves it comes with. I mean, looking at the matchup itself, it has Psycho Cut, Psy Strike, and Focus Blast. It actually doesn't do very well. The only thing it really stands up against is the Metagross, but again, with all the elemental punches, it's hard to decide what it has without knowing in advance to be able to figure out how it will stand up and what it'll stand up against.
Yeah, and we saw it. We got a little preview, so we know we're going to see it. And it could be a double elite TM. It could be the Psy Strike Shadow Ball, which I think would work quite well here. Shadow Ball for the Giratina. It ends up being a really good safe swap with the energy advantage because Psy Strikes are just devastating. Obviously, the Shadow Ball hits the Metagross as well. Psy Strike for the Snorlax, Psy Strike for the Gyarados, and Togekiss, and then Shadow Ball should be just enough for Excadrill, because Excadrill isn't the tankiest of mons. You don't need to get all the way to that Focus Blast, I don't believe. It will probably go down. But from Rocher's Babyface's side, look at that Snorlax. Look at that Snorlax safe swap. It's looking so good. Obviously, does super effective lick damage to the Mewtwo, the Metagross, neutral with the opposing Snorlax. Decent against the Snorlax, against the Gyarados. Togekiss beats the Togekiss matchup. I think barely beats the Gyarados matchup too. I think barely loses to Garchomp, but it's quite neutral matchup. It could be a bait game depending if the Garchomp is running Sand Tomb or Earthquake or not, or what it wants to run. So I think the Snorlax is just looking so safe for Racha Babyface here.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree.
Hey guys, I do want to cut in right quick. I don't want to. We have something very special from the Silph Arena here in chat. They're about to post a link for you guys being here tonight, watching Silph All-Star Finals. You can claim an exclusive Silph badge for your trainer card. So there's a link going to be generated and dropped in chat here in just a moment. Keep an eye on the Silph Arena and the other mods. We'll be putting that in chat. So you guys can claim that. It will only be live, I believe they said in chat, for like 5 minutes. So you have to get it now.
Wow, so that is awesome. I know you guys are all collectors. Go tell your friends. Go tell your friends. Tell them to jump in. Tell them to come get this exclusive badge. That is awesome.
So I'll let you guys get back to your the fun here. But I wanted to make sure everybody knew to pay attention to chat for just a second.
Well, I know what I'm doing for the next minute. I'm just going to be keeping a hawk eye on the chat now. No more shoutcasting from me, guys. Sorry, folks. I've got priorities here. Need to get that badge. Need to make my traveler card look pretty on the arena. Need to hide like my shoddy battling performances on the card. So I'll be keeping an eye on the link, and I hope everyone watching does so as well. But yes, thank you very much to the arena. Massive shout out to them for this.
Yeah, that is a fantastic perk here. Exclusive here. Only 5 minutes. So once again, tell your friends. Try to get everyone you know in here to get that exclusive badge for your Silph card. And yeah, let's get into these battles. I think we're ready. Unless Jolt Switch and Delion, do you have anything else on this matchup?
Nothing from me. Jolt Switch?
No, nothing here. I mean, we've sort of explored what we might be seeing I'll be honest though, that Excadrill, I know that you're thinking the Snorlax might have some play. With one shield, Excadrill actually has a 630 threat score. So it really depends what happens, what's got energy, how it's coming in. But we know we're seeing a shiny Mewtwo for Mephis, and we'll have to see how this matchup goes itself.
Yeah, let's get on into it. Matchup number 2 between Squirtle Squad and the 7 Wonders.
There's that shiny Mewtwo facing off against that Gyarados, and let's just roll here. Now we can see this Gyarados is rocking that Dragon typing move. We've got Psy Strike and Fire Punch by the looks of it here on.
I think it's Flamethrower, yeah.
Flamethrower?
Yeah, rocking the Flamethrower will be quite good against the double steal against Racha Babyface, hitting the Metagross and the Excadrill quite hard, and he swaps into his own Gyarados, maybe trying to catch an Aqua Tail, doesn't quite do it, and then Rocha matches with his Snorlax, a purified one, and like I was saying, I think this is such a safe pick, has the best buddy ribbon, just gonna get in here, it's such a good sponge, gonna sponge up all of Mephiz's energy here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have a look now and just see how much bulk Snorlax has taking that hit from the Aqua Tail. And then, yeah, he's going to just chip away. Let's see who he's going to go for back-to-back Aqua Tails here to chip away a bit more. But I think even despite that, Snorlax is going to come out after these 2 hits with more HP than the Gyarados. So Snorlax will definitely get to this next body slam. Will he farm a bit more? He does indeed. And then drops the final body slam. Will the shield come out? This is the question. It does not.
And it looks like Mephiz just is comfortable rocking with the Mewtwo at the end, doesn't care about the switch advantage, has those 2 shields for the Mewtwo, and I think that's what he's want to save him for. And he does have the Sand Tomb here on the Garchomp, but does he try to get all the way to the Outrage? And no, he looks like he's just going for a farm down. Garchomp is quite tanky itself. Rocha does throw the superpower here, so now the farm down is even easier.
Absolutely, that didn't do too much, but the good switch at the right time to drop in another Aqua Tail, and this is where the shield does come in, because that Aqua Tail is going to be neutral, and Gyarados' attack is a little bit higher.
He baits the Outrage though, right? He was that Outrage energy, and he comes in combo moves, baits the Outrage, but throws the Aqua Tail, and that gets shielded by the Garchomp, and then now Gyarados shields the Outrage as well, and then now he's put in a lot of pressure. He has a ton of energy still. Does Mephiz? No, it's just no. He double shields Aqua Tails. This is huge.
Yeah, this is going to be big. So he was really keen to get rid of that Gyarados by keeping Garchomp lined up against it, and another Aqua Tail. Ooh.
I think Garchomp might barely survive though. Garchomp is so tanky. No, it goes down. Nope. Waste all that energy. Wasted an Outrage worth of energy for Mephiz, and now Mephiz's last hopes is with this Mewtwo, the shiny Mewtwo, but shiny Mewtwo with no shields can sweep a team.
This is going to be amazing to watch here. Takes down that Gyarados. We'll have to see what comes out next. He knows he doesn't have energy, so it's probably going to go for the Excadrill because he doesn't need to worry about a move coming in on him, but he's going to probably lean.
He tries to swap, doesn't get it.
Switches doesn't take a charge move on it though. Here we go, because I mean that lick is going to be doing super effective damage on this lovely shiny Mewtwo.
He's been very clever too.
This is going to be so close. One more side strike. Does he get there? And he gets there. Does this one shot an Excadrill? Excadrill's so squishy. I think this is going to one shot the Excadrill. Mephiz is going to take it with one flamethrower, and he does.
Wow, clutch. If that is the definition of the word clutch there. Beautiful.
Wow. Mephiz, yes, takes it 1-0. Fantastic play. And also fantastic play by Racha Babyface. He gets up to Outrage energy twice on his Gyarados, but twice baits the Aqua Tail and gets 2 shields from the Garchomp, and not just 2 shields, he also Aqua Tails him for the 3rd time to KO him before that Garchomp could unleash the Outrage. Just fantastic plays by both players here, but wow, Mewtwo in the back with no shield is just unstoppable.
I believe the Excadrill and the Mewtwo actually may have CMP tied at that point as well.
Yeah.
And you would normally think that Excadrill's attack is insanely high. That's why it's so frail. But it just goes to show just how much more insane Mewtwo's attack power is, that it's able to win that CMP tie, and the Flamethrower just does insane damage. One downside, though, going into battles 2 and 3 is that now Rocha Babyface is aware of Mephiz's Mewtwo's moveset, and so I wonder what adjustments will be made in order to bear that in mind, that it is a Flamethrower Psystrike Mewtwo, because both moves have been seen. I think I'm trying to recall, did Garchomp reveal its Sand Tomb as well? Because I'm not sure it did it?
It did not reveal it. We saw it, so we know it, but he did not use it. He used Outrage, it got shielded, and he was going to Outrage for the second time, but he got KO'd by that Aqua Tail. And you would have to think a logical counter for this Mewtwo would be the Giratina Origin, because there's no Shadow Ball to be threatened with now. We know that Psystrike and Flamethrower, so that Giratina is less threatened. I would imagine you would want to see it here, so I think Mephiz probably is going to bring back that Garchomp and that Snorlax into this round number 2.
Yeah, for sure.
We're seeing a double kiss lead here, so we got some Charmers. We'll have to see if they're willing to risk it on the IVs, or if they're going to try and switch out here.
Running different movesets as well. So Mephiz is running Aerial Ace, whereas Rocha Babyface has got the Ancient Power. So do they catch it? And Aerial Ace actually launches first, so Mephiz's Togekiss gets the advantage there. And Rocha decides to take the risk and not shield the Aerial Ace. So fair play. And the Ancient Power comes in. How much damage will this do with it being super effective?
And this one is super effective, so I believe just doing slightly more damage and able to... No, but they still tie. That matchup is so stressful because it's so crucial who comes out ahead, but just a tie here, and 2 Snorlaxes in the back, and then a Gyarados and a Mewtwo. So if he can line up that Mewtwo into the Gyarados, we see which... Oh, and it's the Snorlax, but then instant swap into a Snorlax itself, and then met by the Mewtwo. A Snorlax is so tanky, it is best buddy, but it cannot take that many Psystrikes. 2 Psystrikes will take out a Snorlax.
Yeah, just again respecting just how the firepower of Mewtwo and just how dangerous it is. So first Psystrike gets shielded, and there's rushing to the next one. Apologies for the lag. Here we go. So Body Slam comes in. I think by now Rocha Babyface has charged up to 2 Body Slams. I don't know if you guys saw that. I think
almost there. There it is.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit off there. So let's see. So second Psystrike comes in, and of course Snorlax is choosing to double shield and protect this as much as possible. But now these Body Slams are going to start to hurt. There is 1 shield still to protect that Mewtwo. Will it be used?
And he lets it go because Mewtwo is so tanky it can survive that and get to 1 last Psystrike. But look at how good this Snorlax is, able to 2 shield this and barely take any damage from the Psystrike. And this is pretty much all lick damage from the Snorlax. But look at that Psystrike. Psystrike does go through, and it looks like a superpower is coming in for Rocha here for Squirtle Squad. And then it does get shielded, but he's going to be able to swap straight away to clear that debuff.
Yes, that's a good place of the matchup. Now the final matchup is going to be with the Gyarados and Snorlax in a no shield scenario. So it's just a question of who can reach their spammier fast moves first. The Aqua Tail for Gyarados with its stab, and the Body Slam, which I believe does a little bit more damage actually on the Gyarados than the Aqua Tail does. But Gyarados does have the advantage of a much more high damage fast move. So let's see how this matchup plays out in the end, because this is decisive.
And I just want to mention something really quick. Mephiz Snorlax has Earthquake. It does not have superpower. We know Rocha has health on this Snorlax in the back, and his health is too high to die from a Body Slam. So Mephiz not having that superpower is absolutely huge. He's going to be disadvantaged when the Snorlax get back to playing, because he's going to throw this Body Slam right here, or is he going to try swap on it? No, he throws it right here. Now both of his Pokemon have no health for Mephiz, and even if Mephiz gets to a Body Slam, it's not going to be enough against an opposing Snorlax.
No, I don't think it will, because those lick damages are not doing very much at all. So let's see how much this does.
Of course, resisted that ghost type on the normal, but you do have that stab with body slam. Probably not enough to take. Like you said, he's just not going to be able to make it down. Aiming for, I mean, he could use either and finish this game here from Rocha. Goes for the body slam. Looks like this is a bit of a write-off here for him, but we will be seeing, I believe, a second of that Mewtwo to take a few hits from the lick and gone for the day.
Is Mardo in here? Rocha with the lick down. Fantastic Snorlax play. Snorlax with 2 shields, which is so good for Rocha there. And I believe he's running the better moveset. He is running the superpower instead of the Earthquake. And if Mephiz did have that superpower, I think he could have won that game. Because instead of that body slam, he just throws the superpower, gets that KO. But unfortunately, he is running the Earthquake that is just not as impactful here. So Rocha is able to tie it up against Mephiz. And it's now 1-1 in this matchup.
Hey guys, before we get to this tiebreaker right quick, I want to fill chat in. So the claim periods for this exclusive Silph badge are very, very short. The first one is already closed. So if you've come in, there are now 554 people watching hashtag Silph All-Star Finals. We want to say thank you for coming in, especially when we blasted out that we have the custom Silph badges. Our friends have posted in the chat. There will be a new link later in the stream. So you got to stay tuned, watch these amazing battles. We have a tiebreaker between Rocha and Mephiz right here. So stay tuned, keep an eye on chat, enjoy with these channel predictions that are happening. We're betting on every single one of the matches tonight. We'll let you guys get back to it.
Thank you for the update. That is great news. So if you missed the window already and did not get your exclusive Silph card badge, stick around because there's going to be another link later in the stream. But for now, enjoy the battles here. We have a fantastic tiebreaker between Mephiz and Rocha Babyface in the Master League Specialist.
Seeing that Togekiss being led against that shiny Mewtwo here. Again, we're going to have to see if they want to play this out. Master League is all sorts of fun with shields, who's got the energy. Clicking that side strike, being able to get to it, of course, because Togekiss just can't charge fast enough with that charm. No shield here, so we'll have to see. Of course, it does a ton of damage. And, of course, switching out to Snorlax, being able to weather a few of those charms rather than letting that Mewtwo fall. Does have enough energy for the body slam, goes for it, overcharges ever so slightly, able to get to another one a little bit sooner. We'll have to see.
Wow.
From Rocha.
That's huge. Mephiz threw in that body slam. I think Rocha was going for the all the way to the flamethrower.
Yes.
Mephiz does notice that and then goes for the body slam himself to cut off all of that Togekiss energy. So that's just fantastic. But now we see the Snorlax mirror, and like we said before, Rocha just has that superpower.
That's definitely something to keep in mind there, because the Snorlax with superpower does win that matchup, of course, because it's got that super effective move. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. Again, it does rely on shield usage.
No shield on the super power here.
This is going to hurt.
Oh, that's surprise. And it's a double. It's a double.
He back-to-backs it, and as we see, he does have his switch timer, so he's going to be able to go into Gyarados here. So he switches out straight away into Gyarados, but there's 2 shields in the back for not just Togekiss, but Mewtwo as well. And we see Rocha does have the Dragon Breath. So all these Dragon Breaths are being resisted by the Togekiss, and Togekiss versus Gyarados Dragon Breath is such a good matchup. He's just not even going to shield anything and just go for the full charm down. This is looking so good for Mephiz here.
And also,
it's spectacular. It can actually take a Hydro Cannon from Swampert. So Aqua Tail is just going to be a little flick. You'll be able to keep moving, keep charming down.
The shield does come out here to bolster Togekiss's health a little bit more, and then we're looking to see whether maybe double Aerial Ace gets put on the last Pokemon, and indeed it does. Now this is not going to do a huge amount of damage, but it is stab. It is the better of the 2 options here, and I think Togekiss will want to just do as much damage as possible to this Snorlax. With Mewtwo in the back, it doesn't want to. He wants to keep allow Mewtwo to do as much damage as possible without taking too many licks. So the lower the health, the better.
And he's no shielding these because he knows that there's Mewtwo in the back and he's going to have to shield those side strikes. But at that point, he's going to be too low of health. Now Mephiz is just going to shield himself and he's going to be able to charm down. You can throw the back-to-back body slams here. Oh, but he doesn't even have the back-to-back body slams. So he's going to die with 2 shields. Rocha goes down with 2 shields. Mephiz takes this 2-1.
Definitely some amazing plays here from the first place player from Austria, Mephiz, being able to just do some work. And of course, ending it with your opponent having 2 shields, that hurts. That hurts from the other side.
Yeah, for sure. Bringing that Togekiss. That's the thing with Togekiss and and its charm. You can be conservative with your shields in the early game, and all it takes is to have that Togekiss in the back, and you're like, oh, well, all these shields I've saved have suddenly become a little bit less useful, and I think that's the downside. You were saying, Butters, sorry.
No. I was just going to say, I understand why Rocha does not shield those aerial aces because he knows he has to shield the side strikes later because there's a Mewtwo really healthy with a little bit of energy in the back, and he knows he's going to have to shield that. But I think a really good composition call by Mephiz there. I think he scared off the steel types from Rocha. Rocha, I believe, was running the Extra Drill and the Metagross, and I believe in game number 2, Mephiz rocked the Mewtwo, Gyarados, Snorlax, essentially really scaring off those steel types, having the steel types have nowhere to go. And so then game number 3, he just keeps Togekiss in the back, expecting no steel types, and just double shields that Togekiss and is able to just charm his way to victory. And even if he didn't double shield his Togekiss, he had such a healthy Mewtwo. And one other play where he was able to snipe all that damage from Rocha's Togekiss by swapping into his own Snorlax, body slamming it right before it gets to the flamethrower, really swung that matchup as well. So fantastic tiebreaker game number 3 for Mephiz, and he takes it 2-1.
All right. So this is Barnabas versus Parzabel for the next matchup, and I believe this is the first of the Floating City matchups we've seen so far for the finals. So this is going to be fun. This is the specialist meta that the Silph Arena have designed for this for the Factions All-Star Invitationals. So we've seen a lot of these this meta before. We've seen a lot of the Pokemon. We're quite familiar with them. What do we think of the lineup so far? I've already mentioned Alolan Sandslash before and how I'm quite excited to see that out and about doing damage. But yeah, what do we think of this?
Yeah, I think since we have so many fantastic new viewers here, maybe Jolt Switch, go ahead and explain this Floating City meta one more time, if you don't mind.
The Floating City itself is, of course, in the Great League. This is the biggest meta piece to the tournament itself. Some of the other ones just have small restrictions, but the Floating City, you need to have ground, flying, steel, and normal types on each of your Pokemon. You cannot use Mythicals, Megas, Shadows, Regionals, Galarian Stunfisk, Skarmory, Altaria, Bastiodon, and Registeel. So it does limit that quite a bit. Just to make sure it is clear, Registeel is a legendary. It's the Mythicals that are banned, which means we're going to see Articuno is the big one that we're going to see here. As we've noticed, it is huge in this meta. It's able to just demolish teams, essentially. And I mean, that's what we will be seeing from Burnibus for the Squirtle Squad. He's got an Articuno. 7 Wonders Parzabal does not. But that doesn't mean that he's out of the running. It's any matchup can take a small twist, a small change. If Articuno doesn't even show itself for whatever reason, maybe it's just bench pressure, that can shift an entire matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason Articuno is so good is because has such good matchups against the core meta. What you see in the core meta is a ton of flying types, a lot of Drifblim, a lot of Pelipper, and then you see some other Pokemon counter users like Vigoroth, some Escavalier, and then you see some Mud Boys like the Swampert and the Stunfisk. And Articuno just has fantastic matchups with all of them. But when you have something that counters the top meta, then you go into your arsenal and find something that counters their counter. And Parzabal brings the Alolan Sandslash. So Articuno is so dominant versus the top meta, but Alolan Sandslash essentially walls it. I mean, it takes neutral damage to an Ancient Power, but other than that, it will take double resisted from all the ice damage. It will resist the hurricane, so it's just completely gonna wall all of its damage. But the scariest thing is Burnabyss is rocking that Charizard and the Vigoroth. So how is Parzival gonna be able to protect his Sand Slash against the double super effective fire spins, you would have to think, and then obviously the double super effective counters?
That's actually a big piece here is Articuno in a one shield scenario with starting from 0 energy actually wins against that Alolan Sand Slash.
How? Really?
Because it's got a threat score of 568 with a one shield scenario and no energy on either side.
Wow. So Articuno is busted.
Too. It's something, I mean, like I said, all it takes is one extra tap, a little extra energy. Things can change in an instant. But Articuno can manage that with one shield and no energy to start for either side. Articuno takes the win.
Oh, wow. Is that running Hurricane on the Articuno, I presume?
That is Icy Wind Hurricane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least I have some good news for you all. In the no shield, Sand Slash does take it very handily with a threat score of 733. So at least the Sand Slash will be able to counter the Articuno because it can just not shield everything because it resists it so much, and then either gonna take a shield from the Articuno or take that swap advantage and have some extra health. So even though Articuno is super busted if they have to match shields, maybe if they're in a backline type situation, at least the Sand Slash does have a lot of good play against it.
It does lose in the 2 shield scenario though. 602 is the threat score to Articuno in a 2 shield scenario. So he has to hope for 0 shields on that Articuno to be able to make it work.
Oh, wait a second.
Yep.
I don't know. I see that it. Oh wait, hold on. You're right. Wait. Sorry, you're right. No. Let's. You're completely right. I'm so enthralled by this matchup because I can't believe how Articuno is gonna win
against something that's resisted twice over.
No, actually, Alolan Sand Slash wins down 2 shields to nothing if the Articuno.
If the Articuno has no shields, Alolan Sand Slash will win.
If it goes straight Icy Wind, the Sand Slash doesn't have to shield a thing and still wins.
If it's even shields, so 2 shields each or 1 shield each, then it takes a loss, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
We're ready.
Yeah, let's see what happens then with this. If we see that matchup, yeah, let's go.
Watch it be the first matchup.
Let's do it.
Wiggly into Stunfisk here, into the Unova Stunfisk. So the Unova Stunfisk has to be wary of Wigglytuff's Ice Beam if it does reach there, but it will take quite a while for Wiggly to get up there. And in that time, the Mud Bombs and the Discharges can rain on this Wigglytuff and do decent chip damage. So it's starting off with a Mud Bomb, seeing how that goes down, and then just continuing to chip away. So let's see what the timing is like.
And one exciting thing is we do see the Articuno and the Alolan Sand Slash in the back line here. So that's fantastic for Parzival. He really wants to win swap advantage. He lets this first Mud Bomb go, but I would be shocked if he lets this Wigglytuff go. He lets this Stunfisk go because he really wants to win switch advantage. Yes, he shields this Ice Beam. He really wants to win the switch advantage to match up his Sand Slash into that Articuno. He's going to throw the next Mud Bomb here. And does Wiggly try to shield it to farm down? I don't think if he shields it, he could even farm down because I believe the Stunfisk has 1 extra Mud Bomb and the Wiggly goes down. So Parzival is going to be able to match up that Sand Slash into the Articuno.
Yes, and that's going to be decisive then, because that's going to scare off the Articuno when it comes in. So here it comes, and Parzival's able to catch a shield with this Discharge potentially, or does the shield not come out? It does come out. There we go. Okay, so that's big.
Articuno's got some energy there. So again, it all depends on what happens, who throws first.
I still think this is dominant for the Sand Slash. And here comes the swap in on the Mantine. Great timing, as you said. Mantine takes neutral damage, but it's double flyers versus Sand Slash. This is looking really good, and Parzival does have this Drifblim in the back, and you'd have to think he's always saving his shield for the Sand Slash. It is a CMP here, Ice Beam versus Icy Wind. I believe Parzival did CMP this.
Yes, I think he did as well.
Oof. Oh, man. Oh, buddy. that hurts on a flying type, every single one. And here comes an Icy Wind from this Drifblim. I mean, it's going to lower some stats here for him, but probably not enough to be able to hang in there if he keeps that shield, which he may need for that Articuno itself. Another Icy Wind coming out of the Drifblim. We'll have to see if this one lands.
Bubble just got nerfed twice. It got nerfed by Niantic, and then it just got nerfed for the third time because 2 Icy Winds. Does he get to the third? No, he gets this farm down. And this is actually impactful because Burnibus can throw 2 Bubble Beams and cripple this Sand Slash. Even though Burnibus is down the shield, now he can just cripple this Sand Slash with 2 Bubble Beams, and there's no way to get the debuff off. And here comes an Icy Wind. This Sand Slash is just going to be doing no damage.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's cleverly switched out as well, so that to catch the Ice Punch on the Articuno, so that he can launch a second Bubble Beam further down the line if he needs to. So it's a good swap out, even if it may seem counterintuitive at first. So that while the Ice Punches are raining, Articuno is still sitting pretty and is just charging up to get to. He is running Hurricane as well. And now drops the Icy Wind to add another debuff to the Alolan Sandslash, and it is not looking pleasant for this poor Alolan Sandslash with 3 debuffs now to its attack, so 33%, I believe, less damage. So that's big.
Yeah, and I believe he's going to have to get to 4 Ice Punches here. So here's one. He needs to get to 1 more to take he can maybe farm and get to this one. So maybe he only needs 3 more. He's never shielding anything but the Bubble Beam. He's going to let this Icy Wind go. Now he's complete. He can't be debuffed anymore. He's as debuffed as he can be. This next Ice Punch should be taken out. But he swats on it, but that's not good. The Mantine is low health itself. Does this KO the Mantine? The Mantine probably survives though.
It might do. Yes, it does. And here comes the bubble.
There's another bubble. Oh man, and that Articuno is going to come back with minimal health, minimal damage being taken. This is definitely one for the books here.
He's going to farm down though. He's going to farm down. All he needs to do is get to 1 more Ice Punch before he dies the Ice Shard. 1 more Powder Snow. He gets there.
Oh wow.
He gets there.
Wow.
This is 4 times debuff. Alolan Sandslash does not care. He takes out the Articuno.
Wow, and that is one downside of this isn't where you saw actually a negative of the debuff, because it actually allowed a bit more farm down in the end. So even though you're thinking playing the debuff game with the Articuno as well as the Mantine, it just didn't work out there at the very, very end. So it's almost poetic in a way.
That was a really nice play. And yeah, like you guys are saying, it's allows it to farm further, allows it to get more energy. I mean, right down to the buzzer, 1 hit point left, still gets it off. 1 HP in a dream, ends that matchup, brings it up 1-0 for the 7 Wonders in this matchup. I can't wait to see what adjustments we're going to see next match. Maybe we'll see some fighters or some fire types to deal with that Alolan Sandslash.
Oh, I'm shaking from that battle. It was so good. So on, Butter, sorry.
No, absolutely. And it wasn't just 1 HP. It was also 1 second left on the clock. That was crazy. If 1 second had passed, that Sandslash would have lost because it was at 1 health, and the Articuno had more than that. So it actually would have picked up that matchup. So it came down to 1 second, and the 7 Wonders takes this 1-0. Let's get into match number 2 of this set.
Seeing that Swampert with that Vigoroth. Well, again, Vigoroth being able to charge super fast with counter, Swampert able to charge faster with Mudshot. We can see that right away. Hydro Cannon already. Body Slam as well. Not clicking the Body Slam for Barnabas. I'm not sure if he's got something planned, if he's trying to feint something out. No shield to protect that Vigoroth, so, but still down to 50% health because Hydro Cannon is just brutal. Going for the Body Slam. It looks like we're getting a shield here for the Swampert, but he is halfway to the next Body Slam, so it really depends on what moves we make. Getting to another Hydro Cannon. This one has to be shielded, otherwise this poor Vigoroth is done for this match here.
And like we were saying in the first match, switch advantage is so important. I cannot believe Barnabas didn't bring something to handle the lone Sandslash on the back and stay swap on the Drifblim. And here comes the Articuno. So now Sandslash doesn't have this Articuno matchup. We're going to see how that plays out. And he's going straight for the Shadow Ball here for Parzival. Articuno is quite tanky in Great League, so can survive this no problem.
Ooh.
Definitely an amazing shot. That Shadow Ball always doing more damage than usually expected. Going for the Icy Wind with the Articuno itself. It has 1.5 there, so it's got half still stored. I'm not sure if we'll be seeing Hurricane from this Articuno here. Of course, Drifloon falls as a flying type with the Ghost typing as well. Those Ice types always do a ton of damage. We'll have to see what comes out next, because there it is. That Alolan Sandslash is able to do quite a bit of work here. No debuffs quite yet. And speak of the devil, there's the debuff. And we will be able to see that Alolan Sandslash do some work here, unless this Articuno seems to be able to escape. That switch timer is about 2 seconds left. There it is, flipping over. We should be able to see them switch out. Unfortunately, it faints first, isn't able to beat the clock.
And David, the debuff as well, the Sandslash was actually able to farm up more energy, again, a repeat of what happened in the last match. So sometimes the debuff on that Alolan Sandslash isn't ideal. Vigoroth, it is brought in, but Ice Punch is able to be loaded first. Now, with the one debuff, does this KO or not is the question. No shield, and it survives, which is big.
And he just goes for the second Ice Punch. Does not want to take this double super effective counter damage. He could have done Powder Snows to farm down, but just didn't want to risk it. Just wanted to have this Sandslash healthy, and he's going to get some energy here. And I imagine he's going to swap out to try to get this debuff off at some point, but not yet. He doesn't care about these debuffs yet because he knows he's probably going to get another Bubble Beam debuff. So might as well take one more debuff, then switch to the Swampert. And I believe the Swampert is rocking Earthquake, if I'm not wrong. So Swampert has nothing to hit this Mantine?
You'll just be resisted damage from that Hydro Cannon and just chip away that way. Sorry, you were saying Jolt Switch.
Everything's resisted. Yeah, you're completely right. The attack's down, but it doesn't look like he's changing out. I'm not sure if he just doesn't want to use that switch timer, but we're still sitting on a shield here with the Mantine. So that's another thing to also keep in mind, is he'll be able to stop some of that damage. They both have shields on either side. Swampert is coming out here. We'll see a Bubble Beam, which will be able to reduce the damage that we're seeing from each of those attacks, even if they're double resisted.
Burnibus gets the bait though. He baits with that Bubble Beam. He was at Ice Beam energy, gets that bait, and then now finally Burnibus is gonna have to shield something, or is he just gonna let this Hydro Cannon go? No, he doesn't let it go, and the back-to-back Hydro Cannon is gonna be coming, but no, it was CMP. But Bubble Beam will not take out the Swampert, but it will ensure that this Hydro Cannon does even less damage and does not take out this Mantine here. And how close are we to the timer? Is he going to go for the Sludge Wave? He's going to go for the Sludge Wave. It's double debuffed. Is Sludge Wave going to be enough with double debuff? Can Burnibus survive here, or is Parzival going to take it 2-0 and the Sludge Wave?
It survives.
No,
wow.
the Mantine lives.
Wow.
I can't remember if we have energy left on that.
No energy on the Sandslash either, and here comes the Bubble Beam, which is unresisted. It's not going to do a lot of damage because of its low power, but Sandslash is in the red. Is it enough? Not enough.
Oh my
One more bubble does it.
And he was 1 health, 1 Powder Snow away from dying. The Mantine almost went down. The double debuff strat from Burnibus has just been so good. Almost winning the first game, taking it here in the second game, and Burnibus ties it 1-1.
That's mad. Really, really good plays there on both sides. That was fun to see. We didn't see the Alolan Sandslash lineup against the Articuno for too long, but when in that time there was still a lot of positives to be taken from that matchup. Getting the debuff on the Alolan Sandslash to again farm down the Articuno more, but in the end it just wasn't enough by the smallest of margins. So third battle, I guess, and we'll see who manages to win this decider.
Yeah. Battle number 3 here. Take it away, Jolt Switch.
Oh, we've got that Alolan Sandslash in here once again. That Spice Pick facing off against the Wigglytuff, switching out right away to the Mantine. Now, we aren't seeing the Articuno itself in the lineup here for Burnibus, so we won't be seeing that epic matchup we've seen a few times. Looking to see if we're going to have a shield for that Ice Punch. Nothing there for the Mantine. He's just going to be able to take it. Probably try to switches out to Stunfisk there for Parzival, and he's going to land some super effective damage with the Bubble Beam as well as debuffing it, and now it's locked in. That means we can have another Pokemon come in, take less damage, because that Thundershock is doing 2 times super effective damage on this Mantine. Are we going to see a shield? There's the shield. You got to have a shield for that discharge, otherwise it's a long, long day.
Mantine is trying to get to this next Ice Beam, and at this point, Ice Beam almost threatens a KO. So Parzival calls the first bait and shields the second one. Really great plays by Parzival here. It's going to outpace him to the next Thundershock. And even if this Mantine does shield, I believe the Stun Fist is going to outpace to the third discharge and get to that discharge before this Mantine gets to another Ice Beam. Burnibus knows that, lets the Mantine go. And now this Stunfist is 1x debuffed, but we have that Alolan Sandslash for the Wigglytuff matchup and the Pelipper for the Vigoroth matchup. So this is looking quite good for Parzival, and here comes the Wigglytuff.
Wigglytuff doing all that charm damage as quickly as possible, and this poor Stunfisk. Thundershock doesn't do a whole ton of damage, but it charges so fast that it makes those shields matter because you get those charge moves coming. Discharge, landing onto that Wigglytuff, not doing a lot, a lot of hit points, but another one coming out. We'll have to see if last shield gets invested here. Looks like he's not going to do it. Going to let it take a hit, and of course Wigglytuff just able to charm it down. Now we're seeing a move into, of course, that Alolan Sandslash. It's back. It was that first matchup we saw here. Play rough coming through, going to be resisted by the steel typing here on Alolan Sandslash. So no shield, but we will have to see if that higher...
And I believe it was a CMP. No, it wasn't. He didn't actually commit it. And here comes that Vigoroth. The Vigoroth is doing such big counters. The first Ice Punch goes through. But the thing is, I believe this Vigoroth is going to get 2 counters of advantage against this Pelipper in the backup. And at that point, it's going to outpace it. It needs to get the 3 body slams to take out this Pelipper.
Yeah, and that's going to be still going to be a big ask with the health on that Vigoroth still weakened. But yeah, it's just a race. How many weather balls can they chuck out in that time? Because here comes the first one, and I think this is in KO range by now, or is weather ball just not enough? Let's find out. A shield does come out anyway, so that's neither here nor there. The second weather ball will definitely KO, but the body slam does come out first. Pelipper can tank this body slam, but it will take it to about 30% of its health, of its remaining health, give or take. Maybe a bit more, my bad. And then a little bit of
lag here. And this weather ball, I do think is going to just about KO, like you were saying. This should KO and shore up the match for Parzival, and it does. Here comes Wigglytuff with no health. It's gonna keep dancing though, but Pelipper just gets there. So but he does able to farm down, but Alolan Sandslash is just gonna powder snow its way to victory. And how fitting, the MVP of Parzival's team, the Alolan Sandslash, punches its way to victory. Parzival takes it, and I believe that the 7 Wonders are just up 3-0 right now.
That's right. So they are running away with this at the moment. So this is starting to become a little bit one-sided, but that's not. We can't rule out the other team just yet because there's 4 matches still to go, and all it takes is winning those 4, and you can flip things. We know the last 2 semifinals came to tiebreakers and the results ended up 4 versus 3. So there's all to play for still. It's still very much early days.
Yeah, I mean, the Squirtle squad needs to have a reverse sweep to win the Silph All-Star Invitational Finals here. 7 Wonders just coming out really strong out the gate, winning the Ultra Specialist, the Master League Specialist, and a Floating City Specialist here. Parzival with the Alolan Sandslash is punching its way to be crowned the all-star finalist here. And let's just get into the next matchup. I believe it's probably another floating city. If not, it's the Great League, and it is another floating city. Maron P, which we know has the Empoleon, versus Dr. Trotter.
The biggest change that Maron P seemed to make to the lineup is changing out that Drifblim for a Mandibuzz. So it will be still a flying type, but we've got Dark instead of Ghost on it. We'll have to see if that Snarl happens to scare off Dr. Trotter here today.
Has there been any changes on Dr. Trotter's team, Jolt Switch, or is it just Meron who's made the change, swapping out the Drifblim for the Mandibuzz?
Dr. Trotter has actually removed their Alolan Sandslash and their Charizard. They swapped it for a Swampert and Mandibuzz as well. So we'll still be seeing their Vigoroth, Ferrothorn, Pelipper, and Stunfisk that they had last time we'd seen them there on Monday, but making some tweaks, not as many as that as you'd expect. I mean, usually when you win, you don't want to make those tweaks, but you're facing a new lineup. might as well make some changes, try and catch some people off guard.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Adelion, but double flyer is just looking so good for Maron P. I feel like if you can bait out either the Stunfisk or the Fairthorn, maybe Dr. Trotter just runs both. But then flyers can just run through this team. If you safe swap the Mandibuzz, get that Stunfisk out of the way, what stops the Articuno? Even the Articuno can take out the Stunfisk. So maybe just swap out the Articuno, safe swap it. There's nothing that threatens it. Dr. Trotter does not have a counter for Articuno safe swap, and then just close with the Mandibuzz. I feel like that is a huge advantage, having the Articuno for Maron P and not exactly having a counter for it by Dr. Trotter. But as we saw before, Articuno teams does not guarantee you the victory. This is such fluid gameplay. These are such neutral matchups. If you can outplay your opponent, maybe make a sack swap, conserve your energy better, have better energy management, make a couple moves, you can come out ahead. And that's why this format is so beautiful to watch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go on, Joel Switch, sorry.
The two biggest threats for Articuno are actually the Swampert with a 524, so Articuno still wins, but barely, and the Vigoroth with a 581. So everything still takes a loss in a one-shield scenario to that Articuno, but the two biggest threats that'll be able to do the most damage, that's Swampert and Vigoroth. So we'll have to see if we see them in the matchup against that Articuno to try and shake it up a little bit and have us see a little bit more of that team.
This might be the start of the comeback. I think Maron P has a team comp advantage here. We're going to see how that plays out, and let's get into match number 1.
All right.
Seeing a Ferrothorn lead into another Ferrothorn. That's that mirror match, of course, as long as they've got the both have the same move sets, it is, of course, a 500 matchup, depending on shields and everything. You can see Thunder and, of course, Power Whip on either side.
Yeah, and this matchup is slow. There might even be a Silph badge by the time it's over, because this is going to be taking a long time. These Thunders are resisted. The power-ups are double resisted. Maron's like, I'm sick of this. Let's go into my Articuno. I know this thing can beat anything. So here comes the first body slam, and you have to imagine it's going to be shielded by Maron P, and it is.
Yeah, that makes sense to it, because the body slams will chip away quite badly on the Articuno, and you want to preserve your safe switch for this. Icy Wind comes in, which is going to do a respectable amount of damage if it's not shielded. No shield, however, so Vigoroth is going to be dropping to about 40% of its health, give or take. And now the attack debuff means now the body slams are not going to be as dangerous to the Articuno. Does a second shield come out here? I doubt it. Let's see.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is going to be a scary farm down. I don't believe the Articuno can farm down. Vigoroth is quite tanky, so smartly throws the next Icy Wind here, keeping the Articuno a little bit healthy so that it can force another Icy Wind. But no, the shield comes out by Dr. Trotter. He wants to get to his last second body slam, and doesn't get it. One more counter, a little bit of lag, but I think he's going to get to this body slam, and he does. He gets that last body slam, but at this point, it's so debuffed. But no, Maron P does decide to shield it anyway, so he can throw an Icy Wind on the next Pokemon of Dr. Trotter.
So I think
that engine power on Articuno actually shifts the matchup with Vigoroth. It actually makes it a loss if it's a one shield scenario, but we can see that it was able to make it with barely any health, launching that Icy Wind onto this Ferrothorn. What we need to keep in mind is Ferrothorn with Thunder is going to be able to do quite a bit of damage if it goes unshielded, which, I mean, we do have a shield left, I believe. Actually, no, we don't. I apologize.
A great counts by Trotter there. I believe Maron was one Ice Shard away from the next Icy Wind, so throwing that Power Whip just in the nick of time. But he has a bunch of energy, but it will go to waste. But because Ferrothorn is just going to absorb it. And here comes the Ferrothorn. Sorry, there's a little bit of choppiness, but this Ferrothorn is going for the bait here, not going for the straight Thunder. The Pelipper does shield that. So now the double super effective Thunder is going to be coming.
Oh, man, that Ferrothorn is going to be able to rain hell on this poor Pelipper. Is super effective. As you can see, to a T all the way to the bottom. And now we've got back to Ferrothorn against the Ferrothorn. Unfortunately, this Ferrothorn...
But Maron P just has a Vigoroth in the back, so he's not even going to have to show it. I think he's just going to be able to take this matchup with the next Thunder with his Ferrothorn v Ferrothorn here, not even have to show his Vigoroth, but he does go for the double resisted Power Whip. I don't know. I wouldn't want to show my Vigoroth if I was him.
Might be trying to bait some energy out of him. Maybe.
And a little choppiness, but this game is over already. Dr. Trotter will KO with this Thunder, I believe. And Maron will just have to do one punch with his Vigoroth and seal it. Squirtle Squad on the board, 1-0. They're going to try to make this reverse sweep here. They do take game number 1 here. Articuno was very strong. Articuno Ferrothorn core was just so strong. He didn't even really have to show his Vigoroth. How does Dr. Trotter come back and counter that core?
Rambling Rabbit, one punch Mon. I was thinking it.
One punch Mon.
Yeah,
definitely something to see with so much health left on it. That poor Ferrothorn steel typing taking that counter, not a positive matchup at all.
Yeah, I just don't know how you stop that core. I mean, Vigoroth is good against that core. Ferrothorn can also do things against that core, and you already saw that from the Dr. Trotter there. And he did bring that Pelipper. Maybe he switches that Pelipper to something else, maybe something that can handle this a little bit better. Maybe a Mandibuzz. Maybe Mandibuzz is so tanky it can resist those bullet seeds from the Ferrothorn to Maron P. But man, I think this is maybe the start of the comeback for Squirtle Squad. Maron P is, I think, at a team composition advantage. And let's see if in game number 2, Dr. Trotter can seal or can come back and then seal the win for Seven Wonders. It needs to reverse sweep this matchup. 2 more wins. So let's get into game number 2.
All right, here we've got that Ferrothorn against Vigoroth. Once again, it's going to be, that counter is going to be doing so much damage that, of course, Ferrothorn's out as quick as possible into that Pelipper that now has to deal with all of those Thunders that are going to be raining down on itself there. I'm sure we'll see some...
This is huge. This is the bait, but he was 1 wing attack short. Maron P might be counting. He is counting. He threw that 1 wing attack short in great composure for Maron P not to shield that bait because he knew that it had to be the Weather Ball there. A little bit of a slip up by Dr. Trotter, but he does let that Power Whip go, which is a good decision from him. And he's going to try to go to the Hurricane. Doesn't even get the Hurricane energy, just throws the Weather Ball.
Yeah, I think he has turned the second Weather Ball because he felt maybe he was not going to reach that race. So this Ferrothorn has taken a respectable amount of chip damage, a little bit of lag there in terms of the in terms of getting the Power Whip off, but finally does get it off. Maron P finally does get it off to finish off this Pelipper. And now what comes back in, the Vigoroth's going to come in from Dr. Trotter's side to clean up this this Ferrothorn and then come in, have some loaded energy for what comes next.
Now, this could be really interesting to see. Now, Articuno coming in. Now, keep in mind, that Articuno with Ancient Power loses in a one-shield scenario to Vigoroth. So it does shift that matchup because he does not have Hurricane.
Okay,
right, not able to bait that Icy Wind and then land the Hurricane. But Vigoroth does have energy advantage here. He was able to nicely farm down that Ferrothorn, and Vigoroth with energy in this meta is very strong. These stab body slams chunk a lot of these Pokemon. A little choppy here, but here comes the next body slam. And is Maron P just going to double commit to his Articuno? No, he lets this next one go. I believe he's close to an Icy Wind himself. And at this point, he gets to the body slam first, though. Dr. Trotter gets to that third body slam first, and Maron P no shields it. Does he barely survive to get to the Icy Wind here? And he does.
Yeah.
But
it's a switch out.
Oh man, switches out to Ferrothorn, and that Icy Wind's going to land on this poor Ferrothorn, and not do a lot of damage, but be able to reduce the damage that it will be doing moving forward.
But this completely changed the dimensions of the match. Because of that debuff, Ferrothorn usually needs 2 Power Whips to kill a Vigoroth. Now does this Ferrothorn need 3 Power Whips to kill a Vigoroth? And he does shield that first one. The next Power Whip is gonna get there, I believe, and it does because Maron's going for the full farm down. But now this Power Whip is doing reduced damage, and Maron P is just gonna have 2 body slams and maybe even get to a 3rd body slam here with this Vigoroth. He's almost at 3 body slams for this opposing Vigoroth, and you would have to think 3 body slams is just gonna be enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that the Vigoroth on Dr. Trotter has Brick Break, so it does have a super effective move if it can get to it. That's the biggest part to this whole puzzle.
And here comes the second body slam. It's not going to quite KO, but one more counter, and he's at the third body slam. He could have just countered down, but he does go for that next body slam. And Maron P is able to take this 2-0 against Dr. Trotter. Squirtle Squad with a point on the board. They're now down 1-3. They need to win out to win the finals. But the start of the comeback starts now. Squirtle Squad taking Floating City Specialist point here. It's 1-3 now.
All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys get back to it, but there is a new link in the chat for this exclusive badge. I don't know if we're going to be giving it out again, so you better make sure that you click it soon, because they only last for a few minutes, guys.
Fantastic. And yeah, we're not going into match number 3. Maron P takes it 2-0, but no worries, because we just want to get into the next round anyway. But yeah, make sure and click that link for the exclusive Silph badge on your Silph card. And like Rambling Rabbit said, we don't know if there's going to be another one, but just in case there might be. So stick around, everybody. Even if you get this badge, stick around, because there might be another one. And maybe you tell your friends, tell them to come on in, check out these amazing battles, and maybe even get a Silph badge in the process. But let's just move on to this next matchup here. Squirrel Squad versus the Seven Wonders. It's Speediest Chief versus Ali Lucky, and this is the reigning world champ in Silph with his back against the wall, needing to win this matchup in order to keep in this finals here. And it will be another Floating City Specialist Cup. And here are the teams.
Now, Speedius didn't make any adjustments to his team, so he's still rocking that same Floating City team that he was working on Monday. The adjustments that we're seeing here for Ali will be the Stunfisk and the Charizard. We have made a change from the Pelipper and Swampert, so I mean, they must have seen a hole in that team where they noticed a few losses, maybe, but they've made that adjustment, and we'll have to see how it works for them moving forward.
I think those adjustments are going to help with the Articuno matchup as well, particularly Charizard, which is able to, assuming it's running Fire Spin, it is going to be able to burn through the Articuno, but also be an even bigger threat to the Ferrothorn as well. It also has the additional perk of being another, while its defenses are a little bit frail, it does resist Wigglytuff's Charm, which will come in handy as well. As for the Stunfisk, we've seen that matchup with Articuno, and while it's not ideal, Stunfisk is able to outrun the Articuno to its charge moves with Discharge versus Articuno's Icy Wind. So again, that might prove to be an advantage there. So certainly Ali is preparing for that potential Articuno and has guarded accordingly, but has those changes created another weakness of its own, because both Stunfisk and Charizard are weaker to Pelipper. Admittedly, Stunfisk is also a threat to Pelipper as well, but Pelipper typically wins CMP with Weather Ball against the Stunfisk, so it might not take very much to flip that matchup in either direction. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these two players play it out to gain even the smallest of advantages to wipe out their opponents potentially.
Absolutely. And apologies if you guys hear some background noise. No, I'm not in a ping pong ball factory. It is raining here in California, which is rare. So I hope you guys like a little ASMR with your shoutcasting. Apologies if you guys hear some background noise from me. But yeah, the one thing I'm interested in from Ali Lucky is that Charizard. And obviously in like equal shields, Articuno can still do some things because those Icy Wind debuffs. But if there's ever a chance that shields are down and Charizard can throw a fully undebuffed Blast Bird, that can just nuke the Articuno, and that's like the first Pokemon we've seen in a long time that can just one-shot an Articuno. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the plays here, and like we were saying before, this is backs against the wall for Team Squirtle Squad. Speediest Chief needs to take this series in order to keep his team in the finals here, and Ali Lucky looking to claim the Silph All-Star Invitational Finals by taking this series against the reigning Silph champ. Let's get into the battles.
No pressure. Wiggly into Ferrothorn here. Those charms are going to be resisted really quickly, but we do see an adjustment to Vigoroth. So that will, of course, be doing that super effective damage. We do see, of course, Brick Break on that Vigoroth as well, which does shift some of the matchups. Power Whip, of course, coming out. Going shielded to keep that Vigoroth alive. Attempts to shift the energy itself.
Catches the Brick Break.
Brick Break to that Mandibuzz. Now, it should be neutral as it's a dark flying type.
But that Brick Break didn't even break a toenail for that Mandibuzz. That barely tickled it. And the Body Slam's just a much better move. And goes for the Body Slam this time. So fantastic swap in by Speedius, the world champ here. And this is actually a quite neutral matchup. This Vigoroth did have all that energy, remember, from before, where he was able to, or she was able to farm that Ferrothorn so much. And here comes the first shield from Speedius.
It's gotten out to 2 foul plays. Go on, Jolt Switch.
It's actually quite funny. In an even 1-to-1 shield scenario, this matchup, Vigoroth versus Mandibuzz, is literally a 500. So it could go either way.
Switch here, and I think the switch timer isn't up on Speedius's timer, so that's why he's dropping this aerial ace to try and consume a bit more time and then swap out before the Mandibuzz takes too much damage. Ferrothorn comes back in to wall the Wigglytuff. Has to be mindful of the Ice Beam, but he will be able to maybe count correctly and drop his charge move before that hits. So let's see, bit of lag, and he has timed it perfectly.
Yeah, what a great point. Great counting there by Speedius, remembering how many charms that Wigglytuff had. And the Power Whip doesn't quite kill. And here comes the Ice Beam here from Ali. And Speedius just going to let his Ferrothorn go. He still has some health, some energy on the Mandibuzz. And I believe he's going to come in on this Pelipper, wing attack down. And now this Pelipper is going to come in with some energy for that Ferrothorn in the back, hoping to land a Hurricane probably against Ali's Ferrothorn that should be coming in pretty soon.
Yeah, it's going to be a race to see, because it will require, I believe, 15 turns to get to the Thunder on that Ferrothorn. Oh, she's brought in the Vigoroth instead. Oh, okay, interesting.
Oh, what a play! What a play by Ali there, bringing in the Vigoroth and then swapping straight away, catching the Weather Ball. The Silph champ makes a good swap. I could do that too, says Ali there. And now Power Whip is just in range, but she wants to get some extra farm here. And here comes the foul play from the Mandibuzz. How much will she extra farm? She needs to be careful here. She cannot over farm too much. She needs to get this Mandibuzz out of here.
Yeah, definitely, because if you don't want that Ferrothorn going into Weather Ball KO range, you want Pelipper to be forced to rush to the Hurricane. Power Whip timed perfectly to wipe out this Mandibuzz, and now here we go. What's going to happen here?
Oh my goodness, going for the Power Whip, but Speedius knows it's the Power Whip, I believe, because of the energy, and he shields it anyway. Now Ali needs to get to one more Power Whip before it takes 2 Weather Balls. This is going to be so close. How many more Bullet Seeds does this Ferrothorn need? Does it need 2 more? And how many Wing Attacks does this Pelipper need? Does it need 1 or 2? This is going to be so close. And the Pelipper gets there, but does the Ferrothorn die? The Weather Ball is chunks. I think the Ferrothorn's barely going to go down.
Let's have a look. Just falls, unfortunately.
Oh my
and that
God.
is it.
But no!
That is it.
But no, the Vigoroth does have health in the back, and it's going to get to this Body Slam. Does the Pelipper barely survive this Body Slam? It does, but it's a fast move race, and I believe Vigoroth is going to punch its way, and Ali Lucky is going to punch its way to a 1-1. Or wait, no, 1... Yeah,
1-0
yeah.
That's the beauty of Pelipper itself. Yes, it does have that wing attack, and because of the flying type, it resists counter, but Vigoroth isn't a fighting type. It's a normal type, which means it doesn't take super effective damage from that wing attack, which kind of throws that matchup a little bit, which is where counter really comes into play. It does quite a bit of damage and gets energy so fast.
Wow. Fantastic play. I was kind of confused why Ali was going in on that Vigoroth against the Pelipper with energy. She set him up the whole time. She's just comes in there, plays, gets a little whoopsie-daisy, switches into the Ferrothorn, takes that Weather Ball, and just fantastic plays by Ali there. Like I said, a lot of neutral matchups here. So it really comes down to fluid gameplay. Can you make moves? Can you make sack swaps? Can you manage your energy properly? In that last battle, we saw Speedius and Ali both making amazing sack swaps, and now it's tied 1-1 with the Silph All-Star Invitational on the line. Can Ali Lucky win this last game and take the crown for Team 7 Wonders, or will Speedius, the reigning Silph champion, be able to continue this reverse sweep and give Squirtle Squad another point? Let's get into the final, decisive match number 3. We're on game 3, I believe, Katie. Tell me if I'm wrong, chat. I believe it's 1-1, right? Or are we just on game number 2? I might be confused here.
I think we are on game 2 because what? So
on
Ali
game
Lucky's
2?
Yeah, I think we're
It's
on
game number 2. My apologies. My apologies. Let's get
Butters
into
is
game
so
number
hot,
2.
he just jumped.
Yeah. I thought Speedius took the first game. Okay. Game number 2.
Game 2. All right.
Ferrothorn and Wiggly, once again, that Wiggly getting walled by the steel typing on that Ferrothorn, but, and again, out as quick as possible. Vigoroth coming in to do that super effective damage as quickly as possible, too. Now, the real question, does Speedius know it has Brick Break? Because if not, and he doesn't shield, oh man, that
wow, big, that's big.
That's not a lot of damage, but super effective nonetheless. Brings it down to yellow health. And then we're going to see a power whip from Speediest, and a shield, of course, to be able to keep that Vigoroth moving.
I'm kind of interested why Speediest stayed in so long with that Vigoroth. Really gave that, with that Ferrothorn, really gave that Vigoroth some momentum on Ali's side, because Ali got that Brick Break off, got the Ferrothorn low, and still had energy. And at this point, she is going to get to this next body slam right on the CMP. And no, actually, Speedius just doesn't throw. Is he looking to throw a big hurricane here to just take out the Vigoroth?
Yeah, he's trying to force shield, worry Ali into thinking maybe drops.
Throwing it.
Oh, he's throwing it.
Oh my God! With his team on the line, he goes for the big plays. If you're, but he doesn't. He doesn't get the fully excellent, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't even need the full excellent. He takes out the Vigoroth with the shield left. Fantastic play to go for the big hurricane here. And here comes the Wigglytuff. Is this Wigglytuff going to be able to farm down, or does this Pelipper barely get to the weather ball? But swapped in again by Ali. Fantastic swap ins by Ali. Ali takes the weather ball for a second time on the Ferrothorn.
Am I getting deja vu here?
Oh my God.
Okay, and here comes the Articuno, which it can be quite good. It's the Speedius' single-moved Articuno. The Icy Wind's coming in to nerf some of the damage there from that Ferrothorn, but Articuno needs to be mindful of the Thunder that Ferrothorn is carrying, because that will one-hit KO, and he does have the energy for it. So is there going to be a bait, or is there going to be Ali's going straight for it. No baits here. Is the shield coming? Shield does come. Ooh.
Might have learned from the Brick Break earlier, but
yeah, for sure.
Lessons learned. And
I think Ferrothorn survives this, though. I think Ferrothorn barely survives this and is going to get to the Thunder. At this point, is Speedius' timer up? Is he going to try to swap? No, his timer's not up. He's going to have to take this Thunder. It is double debuffed, so it's not going to be as oppressive as undebuffed one. It's probably going to be doing about like 45 to 50% of the health. Yeah, maybe about 50% of its health. And here comes the Wigglytuff for Ali here. It's gonna have to take an Icy Wind, so it is gonna be debuffed. And here comes this Icy Wind, and I imagine Speedius is just gonna swap out after this. Doesn't want to get farmed down by the Wigglytuff. Needs one more charge move to kill this Wigglytuff. Ferrothorn needs to get to a charge move. And how much energy does this Ferrothorn have, and how much energy does Ali's Wigglytuff has? This is gonna be so close. And look, Speedius has a sack swap too. Oh my. And he goes too early. He goes too early. The world champ goes one charm too early, gets charmed down, and here comes this Ice Beam. It might not be enough. This Wigglytuff is debuffed. It's not going to kill the Ferrothorn, and this Ferrothorn needs to get to a Power Whip, but will it survive? And it gets to the Power Whip. Oh my goodness, Speedius Chief takes it. It's 1-1.
Wow. This is squeaky bum time all over.
Oh man. Oh, these matches, they're so close, so close. And I mean, like I said, Speediest Chief showing why he's the world champ. Yes, he did jump in a little bit early on that switch to try and sack swap, but still able to pull it out in the end. Definitely an amazing matchup, and I'm really excited to see what happens next year. Speediest has to win that next match to keep this match rolling for his team. We're going to have to wait and see to see if that can happen here for him.
Wow, like Adelion was saying, is he having deja vu because Ali is just playing games, just bringing in Pokemon and just swapping into her Ferrothorn and just taking Weather Balls like it's nothing. Really well played by Ali there. It was down to a nail biter at the very end, and now it is 1-1. And like I was saying before, can Seven Wonders take it? Take the Silph All-Star Finals, or can Squirtle Squad keep its reverse sweep alive? We're going to find out right now in match number 3.
All right, let's do this. Who wins the lead this time?
Charizard to Wigglytuff.
Oh, okay.
So, as you'd mentioned, he is going to, or Charizard, I'm assuming it's a male, I apologize, is going to be taking resisted damage from Charm. Fire type is actually resisted, which is a positive for it, even though Charizard does have very low defense. We will see a Blast Burn here. Really curious to see if this Wigglytuff will shield.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, even though these charms are resisted, Wigglytuff can two-shield its way through it. And is that what Speediest Chief is going to go for? He already committed one shield. I can't imagine he's not going to two-shield. He doesn't two-shield. So at this point, he loses swap advantage and shield advantage. This is looking so bad for Speediest here. And here comes the Mandibuzz. The Mandibuzz cannot farm down. It does not have high enough attack for those Snarls, so has to throw the foul play just to take this Charizard out. And like I said, Ali taking the swap advantage and the shield advantage here.
It's a really tricky situation at the moment for Speedy. How does Ali react to the Mandibuzz coming out? The Ferrothorn does have Thunder, but then the Vigoroth does have counters, and counters are neutral. But we saw earlier the charge moves from Vigoroth are not that strong on the bulk that Mandibuzz has. So foul play comes in first to try and chip away at this Vigoroth, no shield, and a respectable amount of damage there. And then Ali's farmed up one extra bit of counter damage and then drops the body slam. Here, this will mess up with the counting abilities of Speediest a little, so he's got to keep his wits about him. And let's watch how this continues then.
I believe Jolt Switch said it earlier, this matchup is super neutral in the one shield. And here comes the second shield from Speediest here. Now Speediest doesn't have any shields. He's in such a hole here. He has to make plays. He tries to swap on the body slam, doesn't get the swap on the body slam. Now he's going to be taking brick breaks. And at this point, this Vigoroth is not threatened by bullet seeds. It can just keep punching and keep brick breaking, and there's nothing to stop it. Ali has 2 shields. This Vigoroth is going to go off.
Oh wow. This Brick Break doesn't KO, and it doesn't KO, so the first Power Whip may come out, but that will only encourage a shield, I imagine. Let's have a look and what happens. Power Whip's off. Vigoroth does slip in another counter as well, and unsurprisingly, the shield is out straight away. I think at this point, Vigoroth can farm down this Ferrothorn now. Yeah, it doesn't have to do too much.
Oh my God, yeah, Seven Wonders is on the verge of being the Silph All-Star Invitational finalist. Here comes a foul play. I believe Speediest has 2 foul plays, so Speediest is going to back-to-back this and take out the Vigoroth. But at this point, there's a fully healthy Ferrothorn in the back. Even a Power Whip is going to kill this Mandibuzz. So Ali is looking so good. Seven Wonders is looking so good here. They're just moments away from being crowned the first ever Silph All-Star Invitationalist, and one more foul play will go off from this tanky bird here, and the world champ and Squirtle Squad are gonna be going down to the Seven Wonders. Ali, throw the thunder, and Seven Wonders brought the thunder in this tournament, becoming the champions.
Wow.
Wow.
Fair play. Those are some tight battles there. Congratulations to Ali Lucky on securing that win. So we are now 4-1 in favor of the Seven Wonders, which is crazy. We expect there was a lot of pressure on Speediest Chief. and he's a player with unparalleled reputation as well. So to get a win over the reigning and defending Silph World Champion is a big accolade there. Wow.
All right, guys. Chat is saying let them play it out. Let's see the last two battles, and we're going to do that. And we have a Silph All-Star World Champion.
Wow.
And we will have a discussion afterwards, I believe, with House Stark, a team captain of the Seven Wonders. But, Squirtle Squad can make this close. They can make this respectable. Or can Seven Wonders pull away even more? We're going to find out because we have some more battles. And we don't know. Silph hasn't told us. We don't know. There may be another badge drop a little bit later towards the end of the stream. Have no clue. But stick around. We have two more amazing battles featuring PvP Steve and Fanny, as well as For the Battles and Ricky 1990. So.
Absolutely. Stick around. Tell your friends if they want to maybe have a chance of getting another Silph badge. And we do, like Rambling Rabbit was saying, have two more fantastic series for you all. But yes, the Seven Wonders did just take their crown. And we're going to see if the Squirtle Squad, like they were saying, can make this respectable, or if the Seven Wonders just pulled away here. And we have our last floating city matchup here, and I really love this meta, so I'm excited to see this last series. We have Steve versus Vonnie here.
So which one of you is going to be the first one to use Steve's famous catchphrase? That's the question. Oh, I do like.
I think you, so I can hear it. I want to hear you say it, so I can know what it is.
I do a fantastic British accent. I don't do as good an Australian accent, so I'm going to embarrass myself on stream. G'day, ballers.
Fantastic, and it makes sense. He enunciates his g'day long, and he enunciates his name with a lot of E's. The battle of the vowels here. We got a bunch of E's versus a bunch of I's, but like we saw in previous matchups, there is the Articuno, but Ali was able to overcome that Articuno, clinching it even despite of its power. So maybe Vonnie could do the same thing for Seven Wonders here. Does anything stand out for you here, Jolt Switch, from the threat score?
Threat scores, I mean, Wigglytuff as well as Articuno for Steve. I mean, Wigglytuff only loses to Ferrothorn, which, of course, we've been seeing all day long with that steel typing, of course, resisting that crazy charm damage. Articuno, of course, just owning the meta. Of course, depending on what moveset it has. With Hurricane, it walks away. With as Ancient Power, then it starts to lose the matchup itself to Vigoroth, which we can see. Vanny does have a Vigoroth. Aside from that, I mean, Vigoroth for Steve, again, will do very well. It wins 4 out of the 6 matchups in a 2-shield scenario. But it all just depends who plays what and when and how much energy has it got already.
Exactly, and Steve, it is just the, like I saw in the chat, it's just the Steve, but there is a V at the end. It's just cut off here, and he is rocking the Charizard as well, which just took the last series. Was really impactful. Was a great call by Ali to match it up with that Wigglytuff and taking the shield and swap advantage. So let's get to see if Steve can utilize the Charizard just as well, and let's just get into these matches. Match number 1 of Steve versus Vonnie.
Articuno into that Stunfisk, so we know that Stunfisk is going to be dealing some super effective damage really quickly off the bat. I'm curious to see if Steve's going to get that Articuno out of there, or is going to try to Icy Wind and jump out. We can see, of course, we do have that first charge attack coming off. Shielded easily. There's the Icy Wind. You can see Steve clicking away, trying to get there through the animations. So we'll be getting a reduced to the damage itself coming from Stunfisk, but no shield on that.
Wow.
Going for discharge once again. We'll see if maybe Steve doesn't invest that last shield because he's been able to reduce the damage. There it is. Still not ending it for it though. Does get the switch out, so Stunfisk is sitting in the back with minimal energy, minimal health. Vigoroth coming in, about to take an Icy Wind to the Uglies, and we're going to have to see what happens moving forward, Butters.
Yeah, and with that shield, he does keep the shield advantage equal. And this Vigoroth for Vani here is debuffed. So it's going to be doing less damage to the opposing Vigoroth for Steve here. And a Body Slam is going to be coming in for Steve's Vigoroth. And Body Slam plus a counter or two is going to be enough to take out Vani's Vigoroth here. And so far, the advantage, oh no, but does survive this, does get to one more Body Slam. And this Body Slam should, even while it's debuffed, should KO Steve here. But now Steve is going to be able to get a nice farm down for its third Pokemon.
Yeah, and I think that was the grand plan. Let's see if it's going to be Articuno to try and get another Icy Wind charged up, or whether the Wiggly's going to come in. And he does decide, and Steve does decide to bring the Wiggly in, and 2 charms later, and Vigoroth is out of the picture. But here comes the hard counter to the Wigglytuff, and Steve no longer wants to be in this matchup, so just desperately waiting for the switch timer to go. But all he has in the back is that weakened Articuno, so is it about timing the switch? Unfortunately, the first Power Whip is launched and is going to make its mark. No shield coming out into the red. That's brutal.
And he swaps, and
wow.
Vani swaps on that Ice Beam. That should shore up this matchup. What a swap by Vani here. The 7 Wonders was a... Oh my God, swaps into that Ice Beam, and then here comes the swap for the Articuno. But as you can see, Vani is already at this Power Whip. And does the shield come out? Steve does invest in this Articuno. Articuno will be hard to take out with Bullet Seed because it is resisted by the flying type of the Articuno, and he needs to get to this Icy Wind in an overtap. I'm very surprised the Ferrothorn didn't just throw that Power Whip to take the Articuno out, but I guess it wants to save that energy to kill the Wigglytuff in the back. But he does throw that Power Whip, and now at this point, all Vani has to do is get to one more Power Whip to take out this Wigglytuff.
It's not much on this.
Yeah. Just not being able to do the work on the Articuno. Wigglytuff, of course, about to take quite a bit of damage with very little health left. It looks like Vani's going to be able to walk away with this one unless Wigglytuff has something in the tank. Unfortunately, it doesn't. That ends that first matchup. Steve going to have to figure out what to do next match to make it work a little bit better for him.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm reading the chat a little bit more now, being a little more interactive. Kev Killer says not an overtap, probably a double up. I think you're exactly right. I thought he would just try to get the Articuno out of the way because he had enough health to just get to another Power Whip on the Wigglytuff anyway. But I agree. He was trying to get as much energy saved up as he could. Really calculated there by Vani, and the huge swap on that Stunfisk to take that Ice Beam by the Wigglytuff. That was game-changing and probably game-winning for Vani there.
I think just as somewhat unrelated, Honda has just posted a final link for the exclusive spectator badge only 2 minutes ago. The link is a bit further up in the Twitch chat, so if you haven't yet managed to get your spectator badge, this is one of your final opportunities to do so. So please jump in on that so you can grab hold of this very special badge courtesy of the Silph Road. And thank you very much again to the Silph Road for this lovely badge to commemorate the All-Star Invitational.
Absolutely. Shout out to Silph, shout out to Go Stadium, and shout out your friends. Tell them in Discord, tell them to get over here, get their exclusive badge, and let's just get into the next match here.
All right, we've got an Articuno leading against that Vigoroth. Articuno, of course, having both of those brutal moves. Icy Wind being able to help with stat reduction. Hurricane able to do quite a bit of damage if unexpected. Getting to the Icy Wind, able to reduce the damage that counter will be doing onto it. Yes, it is sort of neutral. That counter, of course, being super effective against ice, but not the flying type attack, coming down ever so slightly. And we're seeing a Body Slam with a shield coming to save that Articuno from what little damage would be coming after that Icy Wind itself. Of course, running back in with more Body Slams flying from this Vigoroth, able to charge so fast with the counter. Not burning a shield here this time. Butters, take it away.
Yeah, and Vigoroth did decide to like almost double up there and not throw the first body slam first, but Steve does shield it anyway. And I just imagine this Articuno just saying, "Good eye, mate!" Like right when it comes in, because nothing can stop this. This Articuno lead. But Vigoroth is trying its best, going for the double shield matchup. But Articuno can just shield this, farm down, maybe get to an icy wind for the Pokemon in the back. Or will Vani try to swap out, not wanting to get farmed down? But no, he does stay in. A full farm down here. Only one Ice Shard away from an Icy Wind for Steve here. Steve does take the swap advantage, gets to an Icy Wind here on the Ferrothorn, and probably just going to let this Articuno get farmed down, which actually might give Ferrothorn a decent amount of energy.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it was very important for Steve to get the swap advantage here, because if you see what's in the back for these two, you've got Drifblim and Wigglytuff, and so Vigoroth is going to come in here. Ferrothorn's going to throw the Power Whip to do as much damage as possible, and I would imagine very soon after Vani's going to swap into Drifblim to wall this Vigoroth, and here it comes, the swap, and here's the counter swap to that. So this is going to be tricky. The only way Drifblim can do damage to Wiggly is through the Icy Wind, thanks to Wigglytuff's normal type heavy resistance to the ghost type attack. So this is looking to be an uphill battle so far. But that being said, the charms are now reduced in damage, so Drifblim will survive for a bit longer and be able to throw extra icy winds here. So can Drifblim get 3 and fully debuff the attack of the Wigglytuff to its absolute maximum before that Ferrothorn comes back in later?
The thing is, this Wigglytuff does have a shield. So does it ever bank? Oh no, it doesn't bank any energy. Throws this last Icy Wind, and this Icy Wind might not be just enough. But Vani does have his timer up. He can swap into his Ferrothorn here. Oh no, but the Icy Wind is just enough. And now this Vigoroth, it can't farm this thing down. Does it go for the body slam? No, it doesn't. And the Icy Wind comes out here for the Drifblim, and the Drifblim is not going to kill with this Icy Wind, and this Vigoroth is going to be at 2 body slams very shortly, and you'd have to imagine a swap out is coming, and is 1 bullet seed away from the Power Whip, and Vani just conserves his energy perfectly. Calculated 7 wonders, take it 5-1. That's 2-0 for this series, I believe, and now they're up 5-1.
Wow, that was some brilliant play by Vani at the very end to get rid of the final shield on that Vigoroth, and then just swap out immediately. And unfortunately, Steve was midway through a counter, so could not react in time before that Power Whip dropped, and that was that really. So very well played there by Vani in that third match to take the next win in this Specialist Floating City meta.
Absolutely. Vani does win. We do have one more hype matchup coming up for you guys. We have For the Battles versus Ricky. 2 fantastic battlers here, and it's going to be a really exciting format. It's going to be the Great League Open format, which I know everyone says Great League, best league. So this is going to be an improved version of GBL, because there's going to be a show 6 pick 3 against 2 fantastic battlers. So make sure everyone stick around for this. And yeah, well played to PvP Steve and the Squirtle squad. But let's see if the 7 Wonders can be up 6-1 against the Squirtle squad here, just take a dominant performance in the finals.
Definitely going to be an interesting matchup here. For the Battles not making any adjustments to her team, we are seeing a switch for Swampert, Bastion, and Hypno into this set here, hanging on to Umbreon, Toxicroak, and Tropius from our other set of battles with Ricky.
Yes, and we know Ricky has that Bastion. Oh yeah, Shadow Swampert and Shadow Hypno. Shadow Swampert, it's really interesting. It actually helps the Galvantula matchup as well. I believe the regular Swampert, a Hydra Cannon doesn't quite kill the Galvantula, but that Shadow Swampert, even while lunged, goes ahead and picks up that matchup. So that's quite interesting. The Shadow Swampert, it's looking pretty good against a lot of the Pokemon. Can hit the Sludge Wave on that Azumarill, obviously destroys the AWAC and the G-Fisk. Can Sludge Wave the Tropius, and the Pelipper is actually a very, very good counter. The flying types are going to be the thing to stop that Swampert, but there's a Bastiodon for Ricky. So that's pretty scary for Kim for the battles here.
Yeah, that's going to be very tricky. I'm just looking at the Swampert's matchup now, and it literally can hit everything for a huge amount of damage, or indeed super effective damage. So yeah, as you said, Sludge Wave on Azu, Hydro Cannon on Alolan Marowak, G-Stun, and indeed the Galvantula, and then Sludge Wave on Tropius is going to do huge damage. And Pelipper, while it will be neutral damage from Sludge Wave, but if it can reach there, and Pelipper is the hardest counter on for the Battles team, that Sludge Wave is still going to chunk a huge amount out of Pelipper, just because Pelipper, for all its good plays, isn't the most bulky of Pokemon, sadly, and I think that sometimes holds it back in GBL and indeed in Silph tournaments. So it's going to be very key for Pelipper to come in against a Swampert and be able to finish it off before it can land a Sludge Wave. That's going to be vital. Another thing to bear in mind with Ricky is the Shadow Hypno. So Hypno, again, I've always talked about Hypno's versatility with those elemental punches, and indeed I referred to it back with the Mewtwo matchup with Mephis. And again, the question is, what will be the 2 charge moves on that Hypno? Is it double elemental punch? Is there a Shadow Ball? Are we going to see something absolutely wild with a potential Focus Blast? Who knows? But that is the surprise factor that Ricky has with that Hypno, and so it'll be interesting to see how For the Battles reacts to that, especially as she discovers what Ricky is running. So we will see.
That is a fantastic point, because I do think we saw Ricky's Shadow Hypno before, and I think it was running the Thunder Punch, Fire Punch. If you safe swap this, it's gonna beat the Azu, it's gonna beat the Galvantula, it's gonna beat the G-Fizz, it's gonna beat the Tropius, it's gonna beat the Pelipper. If you 2-shield it, it can beat the Alolan Marowak, I believe. So Shadow Hypno as a safe swap is just looking fantastic. If he ever just wants to use it as a safe swap to 2-shield it, maintain swap advantage, and run like a Swampert Bastiodon, with switch advantage, that might be really brutal for the battles. And For the Battles isn't rocking a fighting type to counter the Bastiodon or the Umbreon, but it does have that Azu. She does have that Azu, which counters them both nicely. But unless Jolt Switch, do you have any last thoughts going into this one?
The Bastiodon does take quite a bit of damage from the Umbreon, the Hypno as well. It wins against, as well as the Stunfisk does quite a bit of work against Bastiodon, Hypno, and Umbreon. So it does pull that up for the Bastiodon matchup itself in 2 shields. What I'm seeing a lot of work for is Tropius for Ricky. Tropius is able to take most of the team. The only thing it seems to lose to in a 2-shield scenario is the Alolan Marowak, assuming, of course, it is running Fire Spin.
Yeah, great point. I think Ricky has a lot of options here. So these are going to be some fantastic battles. Let's just get into match number 1 here.
All right. Oh, and this is good for Ricky. Toxicroak able to chip away with counter on this G-Stun. Immediate switch out into the Pelipper. Is the Basti going to come in? The Basti does indeed come in. So this Pelipper is going to rain the Weather Balls very quickly on this Bastiodon. And sorry for a bit of lag there. The Weather Balls are going to chip away quite nicely because they do a good amount of damage. So even to the bulky Bastiodon, but Basti is just going to be able to farm this down. Sorry, you were saying, Butters?
No, I think actually if Bastiodon tries to go for the farm down, it is going to lose, because I believe with 2 wing attack advantage, he is going to get, they can get to this 3rd Weather Ball, depending on IVs, and dies on it, maybe an overtap. Depending on IVs, I believe that Pelipper does get to that Weather Ball, but Ricky does get that full tap down, full farm down, and is able to threaten a Flamethrower here, and is going to actually able to threaten 2 Flamethrowers before For the Battles can get to an Earthquake. And Ricky just keeping swap advantage here is just going to be brutal for the Battles.
That Bastiodon is such a beast. It's such a dominant force for an underprepared team against it in GBL. And here, even against a G-Stun, which is a natural counter, those Flamethrowers are really hurting. For the Battles farm is actually switching out here to try and farm up even more energy. So he has a G-Stun is very heavily loaded on energy. There's Azu not running Hydro Pump, but now the Tropius comes in, and it's not the Razor Leaf variant, it's the Air Slash variant, which means these these ice beams are going to be able to land even more frequently, because the air slash doesn't chip away quite as much. And there are 2 shields on this Azu to protect it from those leaf blades. So let us see who wins this race when all shields are consumed, I assume.
I took a quick look at the chat. Did you notice, did G-Fisk jump out of this matchup with an Earthquake?
Yes, I believe it did.
Okay,
yeah.
If G-Fisk does have an Earthquake, the dream here for the battles is to bank to bank that Earthquake and one-shot the Toxicroak in the back. So this next Ice Beam is gonna be going through. If For the Battles can ever get that last shield from the Tropius here, she has a possibility to win. She can maybe Earthquake. Oh no, swaps!
Beautiful catch.
Swats on the Leaf Blade, but does she shield it, or is she just gonna let all this energy go? She doesn't. And how much energy does the Toxicroak have? Did the Toxicroak already have a Mud Bomb to switch into? And he doesn't. He's gonna get Earthquaked, but he does still have a shield left, and he's gonna be able to shield this and then farm down.
Yeah. So this is where maybe if the bait had been called, maybe that could have worked. But I don't think G-Stun even had the health to drop the Rock Slide followed by the Earthquake. So this is unfortunately all over now, with Toxicroak's Mud Bomb being able to KO the Azumarill in a no shield scenario here. And first game goes to Ricky.
Yeah, I like, obviously that was a little rock, paper, scissors there, but For the Battles did try to find a unique win condition, banking all that energy on the G-Fisk and trying to get the shields out of the way with the Azumarill, and then hoping to land that Earthquake on the Toxicroak to one-shot it. She swapped on a Leaf Blade, which actually ended up making her shield, and then having to throw a Rock Slide as well. So she couldn't quite land that combo move she was trying to get, but I saw what she was going for. And sometimes when you're in a rock, paper, scissors match, you got to make some big plays, and she went for it. But unfortunately, didn't work out, and Ricky does take that 1-0.
And now we also, I don't know if Ricky is aware, but we are aware on our side that the Azumarill is not running Hydro Pump, which means Bastiodon is Ricky's Bastiodon is a lot safer up against it. So it is even more vital now for that Bastiodon to be lined up against the G-Stun and not with a huge energy advantage on that Bastiodon where the flamethrowers start to hurt. So let's see if For the Battles is able to overcome this Bastiodon, or indeed the other Pokemon that Ricky has lined up in game 2.
We need to see if there's any work here from the Shadows. We do have Azumarill leading against the Umbreon itself. This could be a really interesting matchup. Umbreon does take the win, which is why we probably see that switch up right to that Shadow Pokemon in Hypno itself. The Alolan Marowak, of course, going to do some work. We've got that ability to create that super effective damage. So it does look to bait first and foremost, not landing that bone shield. And I do believe it is Shadow Bone that we're seeing here. So it's going to be doing a little bit less than Shadow Ball, but still able to do quite a bit of work against the Shadow Pokemon itself.
For the Battles, also go on, John Switch.
Sorry, take it away.
Oh, I was just say that so For the Battles is aware of how important it is to protect this Marowak and allow it to do as much damage as possible. Perfect right hit on the Hypno.
Oh my goodness!
Just squeezes Thunder Punch. Beautiful, beautiful. Just with 1 HP in a dream. Go on, Butter. Sorry.
The composure there by Ricky to survive that Shadow Ball with 1 HP. He does not decide to double shield it, and so he does lose that switch advantage, but he is going to get a nice farm down here with Umbreon, and he's just going to hope that Tropius in the back can do some things, because we know that as soon as this Umbreon has energy, For the Battles, Azumarill is just going to come in and sponge it all up and get some energy of her own. So just about a last resort worth of energy, but did take some damage. So this Azu's sitting real nice here. Let's see if Ricky decides to swap out. No, just staying in with this Umbreon matchup, maybe just trying to dip this Azumarill a little bit before he gets out of there, or maybe trying to swap on a play rough, which would be a huge play.
Yeah, that would make sense, definitely, to try and see if we can do that. Over farming now a little, and unfortunately no swap out there. Surely Ricky by now knows this is possibly a play rough, but he's not going to shield. He's going to let it go through. Umbreon, being so bulky, he's able to tank it. Now swaps out, and that would actually make sense because the Tropius is weak to Azumarill's Ice Beam, so doesn't want to swap in on it with energy, but walks into the Galarian Stun Fist, which is not great with these Rock Slides doing super effective damage. Rock Slide has been debuffed slightly, but still, this is a matchup that G-Stun is able to win. Has to be mindful of the Leaf Blades, but can win in a closely fought match even.
But I do believe if you get extra fast moves in, possibly 2 is the break point that you need to get to that extra Leaf Blade that you need to win this matchup. I'm not sure. Ricky might have got it. Ricky might have gotten those extra fast moves in. So will he be able to get to these 2 Leaf Blades before that last Rock Slide for the G-Fisk? I think he's going to outpace the G-Fisk here.
Yeah, I reckon you might be right there. I think there's 3. I think G-Fisk needs 3 more mud shots. Tropius needs 2 more. Oh no, he doesn't manage it. Just. Second shield comes in now. Right.
Wow, just barely gets to that Rock Slide, forces the shield, but not a CMP. So now we're going to see how Ricky decides to play this. Does swap, has those extra moves banked, but at this point, still a shield for the battles. For the battles is looking really good. These last resorts don't add up that quickly, even with Umbreon with all this energy, can maybe even get bubbled down.
Yeah, there is that possibility for that farm down there. So I think as Azumarill can tank 1 more last resort, and then after that, for the battles, we'll have to maybe throw the Ice Beam to finish it off if it can't farm it down. Let's have a look. Decides to throw the Ice Beam sensibly. I think, yes, sorry, there was a bit of lag there. So that will wipe out the Umbreon, and then it is just the final Pokemon to deal with.
Right.
Which, ooh.
Uh-oh. So it seems here that the Tropius is 1 fast move away from another Leaf Blade, but the bubble does come through. And she gets that Ice Beam. That bubble did come through as that Leaf Blade was going off. So she gets to that Ice Beam, takes down the Tropius, and Ricky goes down. It's tied now 1-1. Squirtle Squad versus 7 Wonders. Can For the Battles get 2 points on the board for her team here. I think Ricky has a really good squad. I saw even in the chat that Bastiodon's just good against 5 of For the Battles Pokemon. So shout out to For the Battles for tying this up 1-1.
Yeah, that is a big thing. I don't think Ricky brought Bastiodon in this battle just gone, and it was pretty damn close. He had Hypno as a safe switch instead, but just because of the commitment that For the Battles putting in the Alolan Marowak to marry up with it, and very crucially getting the Bone Club bait correct, was able to flip that matchup and maintain momentum. So it will be very interesting to see whether Ricky reacts by bringing back in the Bastiodon, which on paper has such a good positive matchup against so many of For the Battles' Pokemon. And now, if that wasn't already the case, Ricky is aware of Azumarill's moveset not running Hydro Pump, so we'll perhaps feel more confident with that Bastiodon. Who knows?
Yeah, excellent point. Yeah, now that the play rough is out there, the Bastiodon is looking better. So fantastic point there. And I was really impressed with that no shield by Ricky to let the Hypno live with like 1 HP. I don't know how confident he was feeling, but I was feeling real worried for him. But he let it through, had 1 HP left, got that last move off, and can he get 1 more point for the 7 Wonders here? The deciding match number 3 coming up.
All right.
Seeing that Alolan Marowak once again against that beautiful Bastiodon here.
How dare you? How dare you call that thing beautiful? I'm just kidding.
A fantastic mustache. What are you talking about? We've got Azumarill switching in, and then Tropius on the other end. So Tropius has to keep in mind that Ice Beam. It could be really brutal, especially if we don't have any shields from it. As it is locked in.
No shields. Wow.
Right down to about 1/3 of its health left. We'll have to see if we're going to be playing chicken on the other side, same way with no shields for that Azu. Leaf Blade coming through.
No
Looks like no
shields.
shields here either.
Yeah, well, it's a credit to Tropius and just how bulky it is, because that Ice Beam is not just super effective, but it's double super effective. Now, the only thing that's stopping that KO is the fact that it's coming from a non-stab Azumarill, and that Azu goes down, no shields invested there at all on either side. And now the Alolan Marowak can come back in and farm this Tropius down, and you can see Ricky's rushing to get to that Leaf Blade, but doesn't make it in time. Does the Basti come back in, I imagine? But this Alolan Marowak does have Bone Clubs ready to go against the Basti. So let's see what happens here. And Basti does indeed come back in. Immediate swap out into the G-Stun, and here comes a Toxicroak. And this G-Stun, while it will struggle against Toxie, it does can threaten with Earthquake. Mud Bomb comes in, which makes sense with it being the super effective attack against the G-Stun. Does a shield come out? Yes, it does. And then here comes the bait games. Is it a Rock Slide? Is it an Earthquake? When is For the Battles going to drop this charge move? Bait has been taken. Ooh.
Yeah, and this game has been quite rock, paper, scissors so far, and For the Battles is on the bad side of that rock, paper, scissors, so she did have to throw that bait to try to get some sort of advantage, and now trying to go for the Earthquake, but it is going to get shielded by the Toxicroak as well, and this Toxicroak will get a farm down and have a lot of energy here for this Marowak. It's going to have 2 Mud Bombs, and it's going to have to throw it straight away because I think the Marowak does have energy. For the Battles was not pressing on it, so maybe this Toxicroak will get to this second Mud Bomb before For the Battles does throw a move. Does she try to throw the Bone Club? Does she throw it now? Oh, yes, she does. Fantastic timing, getting it right off before the Toxicroak got to the Mud Bomb.
But now the problem is what the Bastiodon in the back is going to be a real pain. So that Bone Clubs are going to hurt. She's opting to go for the Shadow Bone here, looking for that debuff on the Bastiodon, which will allow a Bone Club to hit further down the line. Is it going to be enough? Oh, it does get the debuff. Wow.
But she has a shield that she didn't use, and unfortunately, she just didn't have enough health, and she goes down there. Great effort, though. Like I said, did kind of come up on the bad end of rock, paper, scissors there, but great plays by For the Battles, great effort, and Ricky takes that 2-1, and the 7 Wonders take it 6-1 in dominant fashions in the Silph All-Star Finals here.
Wow, that is a mad result. Very, very good. So these were 2 teams with absolutely fantastic roster, great players, and shout out especially to Meron P, who was able to ensure that it wasn't a complete sweep by 7 Wonders on Squirtle Squad there. But yeah, really, really fantastic battle. 6-1 is a decisive and very clear win for the 7 Wonders, highlighting their dominance in the factions format.
Absolutely, and just congratulations to them. I see House Stark just jumped into the Discord, so congratulations to the team captain of the 7 Wonders, House Stark.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys did an incredible job of shoutcasting, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Ooh, let's get Stark on camera. We like the sound of that.
Yeah, then we get to see all those Pokemon in the background too.
Oh yeah.
Chat, try to make him point one out. No, just kidding. He only does that on his stream. All right, yeah. So yeah, welcome in, House Stark, and what a dominant performance here in the finals. But first, I'd just like to ask you, how did you enjoy this All-Star experience? You're the team captain of 7 players in 4 different formats. Was it a handful?
So normally you would think so, yeah. But I think the team that I was given and that we formed together was just incredible. Like there were so many people that were intrinsically motivated to really like push themselves to a higher level. So I didn't really have to do that much because my team was just like picking up the slack every which way. But I think the format was really solid overall. Like having the 3 open leagues and then having the Silph format behind it, it was just kind of like a beautiful combination of stuff that everyone can enjoy.
Absolutely. And so you played the Ultra League Specialist throughout the entire competition. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
How much did that have to do with you have a best buddied XL Umbreon already ready?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a big point. as to why I chose that. And I think a lot of people were more comfortable with Great League, so I figured I would choose something that I was a little bit comfortable with, and it ended up working out. So it was really fun. It turns out a lot of really good Ultra League players also chose to be Ultra League specialists as well, like obviously Caleb Pang and UC that I just battled here. And man, there was a really tough competition all the way around, but it was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Absolutely. And yeah, how much were you guys? I know it's different because you are in your own league by your, like, you're in your own ultra specialist, so you don't have another ultra specialist maybe to battle against. But how much were your floating city teammates? Were they scrimmaging against each other? How much were they collaborating on the team decisions? I know Caleb Pang and his cat just laid down the law. You're bringing Drifblim, you're bringing Articuno, but it seems like your squad was more varied. Was it a team effort in the collaboration, or was it kind of just like trying to see which individual was like more comfortable with what?
Yeah, I think so. Initially, we were just I think a lot of people like added each other as friends just to be able to get like scrims going and like kind of figure out the floating city meta. And then once we kind of had it figured out, then it was like, oh, I should probably bring this, I should bring that. And as we progressed throughout the rounds, like after the first round, I think a lot of people were comfortable with certain Pokemon in the meta. And then like we figured out like, oh, Vigoroth safe swap is really solid. Oh, Stunfisk is like a really good answer to a lot of Pokemon in the meta. Oh, Articuno is like a really good lead, also a good safe swap. It beats a lot of like the common meta picks. And then like eventually going into the finals, I know we built a lot of like really hard counter teams because we were looking at what people were bringing initially, and like in the first round, the second round, and we were like, okay, so this person's team is like super duper weak to this one Pokemon. We really need to address that, and like they feel comfortable with this team. We're gonna just counter that team, and it ended up working out really well. Especially you can see like against like for the battles, her team was pretty weak to Bastiodon, and Ricky was like, oh, we really need to bring Bastiodon for this matchup because it's gonna put in a ton of work. And it ended up working out. And I didn't really do that much in terms of like team building for other people, but a lot of people were helping out each other. Like Parzabal was helping out, Dr. Trotter, and Ricky was helping out with Ali and stuff like that. It was like a really nice flow, and we got a lot of interdependent and like super congruent people working together. It was really fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Go for it, Billion.
I was going to throw in a few questions as well. So coming up against the Squirtle squad, there's some really big names in there. We obviously can see Speedy Chief, the reigning and defending champion, Meron P, who was also was the Asian Continental Champion, and there's many other very big names in there. Did any of your team members ever feel a little bit nervous or intimidated, or did you think, yeah, we've got this, we're good, we're fine, we're going to smash this?
I think initially, yeah, it was like there was a lot of like hesitation, and people were like, oh man, these are huge names. But then you look at our team, and we also have Mephis Flo, who's the European champion. We have we had such great people on our team. And I think our team was kind of stacked from the start, to be fair. I got pretty lucky that we had such great people. I don't know. I think there was obviously. I know Ali went up against Speediest Chief. She was definitely going like into the match a little scared, but I think a lot of people in our chat, like Vanny and Parzabal, were really good people to try to break those nerves down and just go into the battle without trying to be like the hero, just trying to be yourself,
Yeah, for sure. So to move now to the factions and this concept as a whole. So when I first heard about the Silph Arena factions, I thought this is brilliant because this is a good way for the PvP arm of communities to really strengthen together and sort of represent on the world stage. So I would expect to be many little factions popping up over the next few months, but I'm curious as to how much do you think it will bring battlers and communities together or strengthen those bonds now that we have a team format to complement what has traditionally been an individualistic sort of approach with the Silph Arena so far. Do you think there's going to be any sort of like additional positives for the community, or what do you think the factions are going to bring to these communities to bring them together, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it's a great way to build communities together because I don't know. I've said this before. This format of teams is really a good way to build people up together because you can not only learn like from your own viewpoint and how to build a team and all that stuff, but you can work with other people and really kind of bounce ideas off each other. Yeah, I think the format is really solid. And I've said it before, like the Go Team Up that Go Stadium has done, and now with the Silph factions, I feel like that's the future of PvP, and it's the future of formats in general. It's a really fun way of introducing PvP and team building together, and with people, like you can just build teams together as people, and also build yourself around a team, which is also really fun.
Sure, for sure. I'll pass over back to either Butters or to Jolt Switch if you want to chime in, mate.
Yeah, if I have just one more request. If Jolt Switch doesn't have a question, you just won the Silph All Stars finals, but you have a cat All Star. The chat is demanding to see a Falcor cameo.
Oh man,
if you can oblige, if you can't, it's okay. But they are asking if it's possible to see the cat All Star.
I'll ask my girlfriend to bring him up.
Okay,
it could take a
fair
minute.
enough.
While we're waiting,
yeah.
While we're waiting for Falcor, let's finish up with some housekeeping. Thank you to everyone who accepted Silph All-Star Invitational, the invitation to played in this. Thank you to My PvP Academia and Team Rocket Academy for hosting first rounds. If you want to see first round battles and alternative coverage to everything that we covered this last week or so, check out their YouTube channels. If you want to see our streams again, they'll be hosted on our YouTube channel. They should be up towards the end of the weekend. We'll put out a giant playlist. Also, we're about to raid a community member, so stick around for that raid. We're going to head over to Flossy. They've got they're playing in the Ultra League right now. Newer streamer. We're going to help them out, build the community. Who is talking? This is Rambling Rabbit. This is Rambling
Rabbit. It's not Falcor? I thought this was Falcor talking.
It is not Falcor.
Oh,
this is Falcor. Exactly. Okay. Falcor runs the show, and everyone knows it. Yeah, thanks for everyone and thank you for Silph for putting this together. And for their badge drop today. If you are interested in team battles, whether it's Silph factions or Go Team Up, we'll be covering that here on our channel. Both of those. So we'll drop links for Academia, for Team Rocket, and everyone in the chat, as well as Jolt Switch is the host of the Pokemon Masters podcast. Butters can be found at twitch.tv/20butters, Adelion, twitch.tv/Adelion, House Dark also on Twitch, twitch.tv/HouseDark93. This could not have been possible without a woman who runs all of this in the background.
Oh, hi.
Miss Mystic, twitch.tv/Miss Mystic. Honestly, we had some bumps with some things that needed to be announced today, and everyone working on different things, and Katie just busted everything out and got it ready. So thank you to her.
So absolutely.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And also, huge thank you to the man who can never thank himself, Rambling Rabbit. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us, Cody.
For sure. Yeah, Cody, big shout out to you, mate. You are in many ways the face of the. Oh, here we go. There's a the camera.
Camera.
Like Falcor was like, nope, I'm not. I ain't showing up for this. Turns he was the one that pressed the button and turned off the webcam, and now it's all. Oh no, it's coming back. Is it coming back? We have a tail. Oh,
that's awesome. Yeah, I just want to say thank you personally, real quick, to first of all Falcor for being here. What an honor, Falcor. Thank you for showing up, and just thank you to the PvP or My PvP Academia, Team Rocket Academy. All the people that put on those streams. I was part of the Team Rocket Academy streams with Sosaflow and many others that put in a lot of work. And there's so much work that goes on to these like events to make a good viewing experience, make a good competitive scene for a game that we all love. So shout out to Silph for making such a fantastic format, and then the Go Stadium, obviously Katie, Rambling Rabbit, they do so much, but there's a lot of people that do stuff behind the scenes too, editing videos, and then thank you to all the players, especially to the Seven Wonders who are the champions, and House Stark who we have here, the team captain, a fantastic guy and a fantastic battler. And I just a quick thanks also to my co-casters Adelion and Jolt Switch. Thank you guys so much. This is was an honor for me to be here, and I appreciate you all.
Yeah, the honor is all mine, Butters. Thank you so much for what you've done as well. And this has been a great event. And Jolt Switch, the brilliant mind, and all the stats, has everything there ready to go. Probably the most super prepared person here with all those stats that you could just chuck out at any point. So no, very grateful for having me on stream and leading the charge there, Butters. Appreciate it, mate.
One other thank you I gotta throw out there before we get started on this raid. Tyflick, thank you so much for all the editing that you do behind the scenes. And then Jolt Switch, I'm so sorry for cutting you off. You go ahead, and as soon as you're done, we're gonna go ahead and raid Flossie.
No worries. Thank you so much, Butters. It's been great to work with you. Same with yourself, Adelion, and House Stark. My gosh, it was amazing to watch you battle and be able to see what you put together with a team. It's great to see. And thanks again so much to Go Stadium. Rambling Rabbit's been doing some killer stuff to put it together. And Katie, Miss Mystic, you've been rocking the stream. Thanks so much for putting it all together. And I guess we're going to raid another channel there.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you for having me on. I really appreciate it. For Go Stadium, as well as Silph, as well as the Seven Wonders for holding it down. You guys are the best. Adelion, Tua Butters, Jolt Switch, Miss Mystic, Rambling Rabbit. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank
and
you.
Check out House Stark. He's probably streaming in like half an hour as well.
Thank you guys so much. Don't forget when you get over there to bring the hype, spam some emotes, say hello, let them know that you guys are hyped about the All-Stars and that Go Stadium sent you.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, we clear?